I thank God. Straight from the mud, now it's time to get the pie. Sweat, vision, blood, you can see it in my eye. Up, I thank God. Straight from the mud, now it's time to get the pie. Sweat, vision, blood, you can see it in my eye.
All right, y'all, let me know if the audio's okay, because I'm starting the live without my Bluetooth headset, because when I listened to the beginning part of the replay, the audio just, I don't know why it was so choppy. So I want to make sure you guys can hear me without the Bluetooth, so that I can know before I get into the full swing of things if it's okay, or if I need to go ahead and hook my Bluetooth earphones back up. Thank you so much for tuning in, Cody, my good brother. Thank you. Can you let me know how the audio sounds? Because again, I never know until after, when I watch the replay, how it sounds for y'all. So can you let me know? Because there was a few people that were telling me afterwards that the audio was low. So I'm just trying to see. He said it's good on your end. Okay, does it sound better than last night? Because like I said, when I watched the replay, there's a lot of audio chopping, like a lot of chopped up audio in the beginning. Because if I don't need the Bluetooth, I'm not going to, sync it up. And it's 11:11 on the clock right now. Thank you, ancestors, for that angel number of divine confirmation. Okay, and can you also hear the high vibrational background music? Because again, on my end, it doesn't play when I'm inside of the studio. It doesn't show me till afterwards. I just want to be sure before I, go full swing into everything. And I'm also adding a couple more screenshots. It's quite a bit that I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to try to keep it condensed down because I need to get some more rest for what I got to take care of in the morning. You said with the background music, you can barely hear it? Okay, let me do this. I'm going to sync up my Bluetooth to see if I can hear it at all. That way I can know how to adjust it, because I felt like it was a little too loud during the live from last night. That's why I turned it down more. But again, unless I jump out of here, which is going to freeze the live to go actually look in the YouTube app, I really can tell y'all's perspective. Hold on. Okay, so with the Bluetooth on right now, Cody, can you tell me if you can hear me speaking okay, and if you can still hear the background music okay? Because if it's altered it in any way, I'll disable the Bluetooth. Let me try to turn up the background music a little bit, but not too much. Okay, so I turned it up a little bit, but not like a whole lot. He said, yeah, sounds good now. Okay, then I'll leave the Bluetooth earbuds in. I'll leave them in because that might be helping. So, okay. Neptune Pisces, good to see you. My other good brother, glad to see y'all tuning in for part 2 of Jaguar Wright, Sex Traffic Me, they said. Also including Diddy and Trump sued again. Both of them getting sued again. So some new developments. Because everybody kept talking about this TikTok video of Diddy allegedly getting out. A couple of my Uber drivers over the past couple of weeks had told me that. And then as well, um, one of the technicians at an appointment that I went to earlier this morning, he was saying the same thing. And, you know, he subscribed, shout out to Isaac, he subscribed to my channel. I said, bruh, that is an AI video. That, trust me when I say Diddy is still sitting in MDC as we speak. And y'all know my investigative research mind. I pulled it up immediately. I was like, well, maybe he got out and I didn't hear about it. No, that's that AI video circulating around on TikTok, making people think that he got out. No, Judge Arun definitely is not letting him out. He's scheduled for his sentencing hearing on October 3rd. And then there has been a new hearing scheduled for the 25th of this month, for then, for basically his defense attorneys are trying to get him acquitted of the current charges that stuck. He was already acquitted for the RICO and the sex trafficking. Now they're trying to get him acquitted for the prostitution charges, claiming that the original definition of prostitution is not the act of sex in exchange for money, but the act of sex outside of marriage. You know, just it's the audacity of the attorneys that are just greedily trying to get him a win so that they can capitalize, being completely dismissive of the upon hundreds of claims from multiple people regarding the allegations. So if he was convicted of, you know, the prostitution charges, I just don't understand why they're even, it's like they're so desperate to get him free, which is even more telling the desperation to get him out of jail so that the same accusations can allegedly continue to happen. Now, before I move forward, all commentary on my channel is alleged and for the purposes of entertainment and education and investigative research outside of my real life experience. But yeah, it's insane what they're doing right now, trying to get this man out of MDC. And quite honestly, MDC is probably the safest place for Diddy right now. Because even if you get out, you've got enemies, sir, and a lot of them. And you only have so much money because you ain't been making no money off of freak offs, you know, since you've been locked up, allegedly. Um, so yeah, it's just irritating to see them be so relentless, and it's making me wonder how much did he pay his attorneys for them to completely not have a conscience, you know, about any of the victims and their stories being heard, their voices being heard, and them receiving justice, including Cassie, who we all witnessed on the CNN footage, you know, the way he just literally beat her like she was an animal. Um, so it's frustrating to see, you know, the attorneys doing that. Also, Trump is being sued by, ironically, an attorney that was a prosecutor in the same case, in the Diddy case. She got fired, and now she's suing the Trump administration for, you know, unlawful termination. And she also was a prosecuting attorney for Epstein and Ghislaine. So a lot of new interesting developments that all tie into the Jaguar Wright sex trafficking, they said, title. Because I, you know, did more reading into the docket details of the upcoming hearing where she and Big Homie CC and Odell Beckham are all named in Druski in that hearing. So, Diddy's got 3 back-to-back hearings. 25th is the appeal that his defense attorneys are doing, trying to get him acquitted of the charges of prostitution um, on, in my opinion, just some bullshit, you know, bogus foundation. This loophole that they think they have found. And then his sentencing is on October 3rd for the current same charges. And then we've got the next case, Parham versus Combs, where again, Jaguar is named, as well as Big Homie CC, Druski, Odell Beckham, and other, uh, people that are connected to Diddy, including Janice Combs and this KK person. Like I said, I did some more reading, and it's disturbing. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. If I'm gonna put it this way, if this Parham person, if they find out that this person made all this up, they need an Academy Award for writing stories. Because when I tell you, just reading through this to even research it for tonight, I had to do a saltwater cleanse a couple of times to clear my energy because it's just horrific. It's a very horrific story. Um, and now it's, coming closer to finding out if the story is credible, if it's true, or if indeed this is just, a publicity stunt slash distraction, which I don't put past nobody that people will spend time and money to present distractions, So I'm not, I'm objective. I'm objective, meaning I'm open to all possible outcomes. I'm open to the outcome that everything in this case could be true. I'm also open to the outcome that it could be a whole bunch of lies and bullshit and just publicity for him to get people's energy. Because y'all do realize that even though he's locked up, he's still getting everybody's energy. Like what you focus on, you give your power to. That's why I cover certain parts of the Didla's stories, but I'm not inundated to that because I'm not, giving all my power to it. But I do want to know for myself. Because as I told you guys, when Jaguar and I would speak offline, outside of YouTube, and I had did that first live when I left that house and, got the Airbnb from the donations from my channel. Um, it was like I had that super good live. I think I did about 3 or 4 when I first got there. And we were all enjoying each other. And I was showing y'all my art, which unfortunately leaked my government name. And then it just turned into a fear, not a smear, a fear campaign of, her calling me frantic and Grace and Ayash and all them like, you gave away your location even though I didn't, you know, trying to strike all this fear into me that people were going to come for me and they were going to find me and they were going to kill me because they're hunting truth tellers, just all this shit that she, alleged. Um, then the offer of the safe house. The reason I'm bringing that up first is because I found that in these case details from the Pelletier, however you pronounce the name, person, that he had also offered safe houses to a few of the plaintiffs that have horrific stories about said safe houses. And y'all remember when I told you that Jaguar offered me that safe house and then got angry with me because I rejected it and said no. Because common sense told me that was some bullshit setup. Even though we were technically aligned at that time, for those of y'all that kept saying, how are you a psychic and you didn't know? I knew everything. But knowing and wanting to believe what you're being shown are two different things, especially when you believe in a person and you believe that this person's an advocate. You believe, hey, this is somebody who seems like they're about telling the truth and exposing people. And then you realize, no, they're not. So at the time I wanted to believe in her, fuck no, I didn't want to believe what I was being shown in the 5D. But then everything I was shown manifested, like it always does. So That's why we're now here at a place of my continued investigation because of the connection that I had with Jaguar. I want to know just how far the deception went and just how involved allegedly she, was, because like I said, the details in this case, if this is made up, that she needs to be right, like for real. Because just reading this and feeling these people's energy was very triggered. Because I am a survivor of sexual abuse, and I am healing um, emotional trauma as a result of that, still to this day. Anyone who's ever experienced being sexually abused as a child or an adult, you do know the effects, the after effects of that. So for me, manifesting Forever Freedom facilities to help aid those who are survivors actually receive spiritual, physical, and mental healing is a nonprofit that I am starting. And it doesn't matter what my current circumstances appear to be. I'm speaking all that into existence because I know all too well the effects, like the stories that some of the women told about why they waited so long, the feeling that no one's going to believe you, especially if you're threatened or told to be silent. And there's another case that just so happened to pop up on the same page when I was researching about whether or not Diddy had been released, about a mega church where the pastors just got arrested for sex trafficking and sexual abuse. Very similar to what I experienced when I was raped as a member at Christ Apostolic Temple and told to be silent about it from the pastor who's now dead, and whose son is running the church, and whose son has been accused of grooming and sexual abuse over and over for years. And everyone just wants to sweep everything under the rug and then consider me an enemy of the state because of me exposing all of it when this should have been exposed years ago. There's a reason survivors don't come forward because of the ridicule that we endure when you finally have the courage to come forward. The victim shaming, the victim blaming, victims feeling like no one's going to believe them. That's also why this is near and dear to my heart regarding Jaguar, because again, you were supposed to be a mouthpiece for survivors. Not just me, not just my subscribers, not just the people that are following you, but around the world. And all you did was use the media for clout. You didn't actually use it to change anyone's life. When we find out that you're now being accused, and not even now, you've been being accused of this shit for years. I remember defending you. But now that pieces of the puzzle are coming together, more and more you are making yourself look like you're guilty. And you can't religious your way out of it. I know you come from the background, I think it's Seventh-day Adventist and Church of God in Christ. I come from the background of Apostolic Pentecostal. My father was Church of God in Christ. I understand how these churches / cults work. That everybody wants to be a part of the community. And no one wants to be an enemy of the community. No one wants to be excommunicated. Well, I didn't get excommunicated. I left in the middle of the night. I escaped from the cult. And they've been trying to get me back ever since, especially because of my spiritual gifts and me casting demons out of people and cleansing people and places and buildings and being able to successfully remove demonic presences off of people. But when you go to clear demons out of a church, the first question you have to ask is, how did they get there? Well, if the pastors and the clergymen and the leaders are committing satanic sexual or ritualistic acts, that's how they got invited. This is why when people say, where's your family in your current situation? Well, some people are more concerned about their image than their relative that suffered sexual abuse, that's trying to help other people heal. They don't want family secrets exposed. They don't want accounts of sexual abuse exposed. They don't want to be exposed for covering it up, or not believing children that told you that they had been abused. So when there's a relative like me who is fearless and courageous enough to speak my truth, you tend to be more than just the black sheep. You're the outcast. And I'm perfectly fine with that. Because I'd rather be hated for being my authentic self than love for being fake, like the rest of y'all that sit in these temples of fakeness where you know there have been reports of sexual abuse going on, and all of you sat there and did nothing. And many of you were told by your children that they have been abused by people in these churches and did absolutely nothing to defend or protect your children because of financial gain that you received for allowing it. See, y'all thought this shit just went on at the Diddy parties in the music industry. No, this shit goes down in every major part of this world. Spiritual wickedness in high places does mean that this goes on in churches. But not just the church of Satan, the churches that you go to every fucking week. Everybody's clapping and singing and praising God and shouting and catching the Holy Ghost, which ain't a God at all. Because God is a spirit, not a ghost. A ghost is a disembodied spirit. I definitely know the difference. But it's an amazing thing to see how much of this trafficking goes on in these major places. And in a church, it should never go on. A young lady should be able to go downstairs in the basement of a church to go to the bathroom and not have to worry about being snatched up and raped in the choir room, and then having to go upstairs and sit next to the man that just raped me and have church like everything was normal. See, I went through that after I was raped by my ex-fiance. I was told to go to church and just act like it didn't happen, and we'll counsel with you, and don't go to the police, and we don't want a scandal coming to the church. Don't go to the public, don't go to the media, just keep it between us. I'm your pastor. You guys are my children. Let me be the shepherd. Oh, I remember all the brainwashing tactics, the MK Ultra of it all that goes on in these so-called churches where pastors are pedophiles and rapists and take advantage of women and children, preying on their belief in God and telling them that your way is the only way to heaven. In fact, the pastor I'm about to show y'all told his members that the only way to heaven was to have sex with him, and they believed it, because that's what happens when you are brainwashed. That's what happens when you're MK Ultra'd by a pastor or preacher. When you are finessed by a false prophet and prophetess, when you are bewitched by a witch, you'll find yourself believing what they tell you blindly. And then when you do start to question it, you're the outcast all of a sudden. Andrew, good to see you, my good brother. Andrew said volume is better. Good. I was hoping so, because yeah, I was listening to the replay and that audio choppiness was quite annoying. Thank you. So glad to see my three good brothers in the chat. So, like I said, I want to get right into it. I don't know if I'm gonna be, well, I think I might play that Ellen video again for that to sink into people just how despicable all this shit is. For those that would like to support my channel, before I pull up the Share screen. For those that would like to support my channel, I do not use super chats, super stickers, nor have I enabled memberships because YouTube takes a huge percentage of that. So if you would like to send donations to support my channel during the live, my Cash App and Venmo is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, and it's also pinned in the chat. So again, I don't do super chats, I don't do super stickers, I don't enable memberships, especially when I found out that the memberships is how people's IP addresses were getting hacked and leaked. So that's really for all of y'all's protection. Plus, like I said, YouTube takes a huge percentage of all of that. So if you would like to support, feel free to send your donations. Don't forget, family, to follow me on Rumble. Make sure you click follow and subscribe. I'm not going to lie to y'all. If this live ends up getting a little too deep, I will end the stream to YouTube. So you will have to be on Rumble to continue to participate in the chat. Don't forget to hit the like, hit the like, hit the like button on the way in. Make sure you share this live video. Your participation in the chat does help push the video up in the algorithm, as well as you liking the video and commenting after. I want to give a huge shout out to all the new DzPeepz. I did see quite a few people subscribed after last night's live. I want to acknowledge all the new DzPeepz. Thank you for subscribing and welcome to D's World. I'm extremely tired. It's been a very long day. I had actually planned on camming up, and then I was like, you know what? I'm tired. Let me just go ahead and start the live. So y'all will get the avatar tonight, but I do plan to be cammed up on the next live. But make sure that y'all are hitting the like, share the video, comment, subscribe. Also, y'all can follow me on TikTok. I did do a live tonight, um, shortly before I started this one, and played around with a very cute clown cosplay makeup filter. I do believe there's a clip of that live that's posted to my TikTok, but you can follow me on TikTok at JustDeeShow, and also follow me on Instagram at JustDeeShow. That way, if you want to reach out to speak with me directly and or to book a private reading, which, by the way, I do have openings this weekend for private live readings. So I plan on doing a live again on TikTok sometime tomorrow. I'm going to be doing free mini readings. And then that way you can test out all of my spiritual gifts before you book a private session. And the private sessions start at 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 1 hour. The 30-minute and 1 hour private consultations can be video consultations. So for 30 minutes, it's the angel number 8888 representing abundance. For 1 hour, it's 14444 representing the chosen 144,000. And for 15 minutes, it's angel number 4444, which is the angel number for ancestors and angels watching over you. The 15-minute is not a video reading, but it can be a phone call reading on Instagram or even via one of my business numbers. So again, if you are needing assistance with spiritual protection, love, healing, money affirmations, healing affirmations, spiritual protection, if you want to learn more about your own spiritual gifts, if you just want to learn about the spiritual realm, if you're transitioning through, trying to figure out your way as far as, like, I know there's other people that are kind of transitioning from religion to spirituality or inquiring about how to do so. Those are all things I can assist you with, as well as your spiritual healing affirmations and mantras. I want to give this quick testimony. So last week, y'all know my circumstances and, me rebuilding my life, speaking abundance, prosperity, joy, healing, new beginnings. So my situation is going to manifest exactly how I see it manifesting. But in the interim, yes, daily, I decide where I'm going to stay as far as Airbnb, hotel, wherever. So last week, I was going through a lot of challenges, and I was so frustrated with all the back to back, tests and trials, just having a human moment of frustration Like, I'm aligning my frequency to receive abundance. Why does all this keep happening? And the minute I allowed myself to vent and I released the frustration, even though my circumstances at the time honestly were not good, they weren't. I had reached out to a few people, who have helped before, supported before. No one was responding. And so I said, okay, this is a challenge for me to manifest in this moment. And I just shifted my frequency to gratitude. Even though my situation, I'm not going to lie, was really messed up, I just shifted to gratitude. I started thanking God for what I currently did have, what currently did go right, despite a lot of things going left. I started thanking the Most High for the things we take for granted, like eyesight, hearing, mobility. I started thanking the Most High for being cancer free when I was hospitalized, for finding out that there were no more tumors in my lower intestines, and that yes, I do need colorectal surgery. And I'm speaking that into existence, even though I was frustrated about, the symptoms and all of that. I just started shifting to gratitude. And then it was like within, what was it, a couple of hours, I received emails for bookings, for readings. I received just random donations out of nowhere. And then the funds that had been being held were immediately released to me. And they have been being held for months. And all I could do was rejoice, because it was like, as much as I had gone without and had temporarily struggled, everything came in all at once, back to back. Even the release of the money that they told me I wouldn't get until the end of this month. It was like everything came in. So I don't operate from the frequency of fear and uncertainty. I embrace the uncertainty and I walk by sheer faith, nothing but faith. And I was frustrated because I said, Most High, I have worked since I was 12 years old. That's all I know to do is work. I don't I don't like being in a space where I can't control my situation, but control is indeed an illusion. We're given an ideal that we have control, but we technically don't. So what I realized is my scorpionic wanting to manage everything, wanting to be in control of everything. I was frustrated because I'm like, man, you know, I've been applying here, applying there, interview here, interview there, virtual, in person. And every time it seems like this brand new opportunity is coming, something happens. And what the ancestors told me was, embrace the uncertainty. We have never left you. We are guiding you through this. You are the example of walking by faith. So it's not a karma thing. It's not a woe is me thing. It's a embrace the uncertainty and trust the process, even when things are uncertain, even when you have no idea how it's going to work out, when you have no idea of how the outcome is going to be, when you have no idea of, okay, I'm marketing this, this, and this, but this, and this hasn't produced a result yet. As soon as I release controlling with my thoughts how I was going to manifest finances, they flowed in. Literally, they just flowed in out of nowhere. There's scripture that says, now unto him that's able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ask or think. I came that you might have life and life. I had to realize in that moment, the uncertainty is divinely orchestrated. It's not that God is punishing me. It's not karma. It's not any of that negative, low vibrational bullshit that people try to say. It's literally, I gave you this mountain to prove that it could be moved. Faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. And so what I do now, instead of worrying about things, is I walk boldly with the confidence that I deserve every good thing I have prayed for. I am worthy of all the good things. I am worthy of healing. I am worthy of abundance. I am worthy of prosperity. And prosperity is not just money, that means prosperity of favor, prosperity of the right aligned connections. Because not everybody that you connect with is for you. Also, I've been realizing that. Not everybody who's a part of my life is actually for me. There are people who have positioned themselves to be a part of my life because they think they're going to gain something from that connection. And so I realized, thank you. Even with my current situation, there's been a lot going on in my current living circumstances. A whole lot. A lot happened today. A whole lot happened today. A whole lot happened yesterday. And I said, ancestors, I'm handing all of this to you to handle for me. Take care of it. I move on my behalf for my highest good. I believe I deserve the very best, even in this certain situation. And I'm going to walk boldly in the confidence of that. See, manifestation isn't wishful thinking, it's knowing that you deserve it. I have gone through a lot, I have learned a lot of lessons. Now it's time for me to reap my harvest of abundance. It's time for it to come in. So the best way to get abundance is to come in. The best way to get abundance to come in is to express gratitude for what you already have. Even if you won't have shit, let's be real. Even let's say you're out of funds. Let's say you prayed and the door didn't open yet. And you have no idea how you're going to pay for what you need to pay for. You know the way you manifested. Thank you for what I already have. Thank you for my ability to manifest everything that I desire. Thank you for my help. Thank you for my assistance. Thank you for my provision. All my needs are met. All of my desires are met. Everything I desire, I deserve. I deserve a good life. I deserve a healthy body. I deserve a positive support system locally and virtually. I deserve reciprocation. I deserve people with genuine hearts who are authentic, that aren't out to use people and fuck them over when they see that you have a good heart. I deserve people who I resonate with spiritually, where we share the same gifts, who are not about dark entities and dark agendas or of any sort of deception. I deserve for Forever Freedom to launch by the end of this year. I deserve to be able to help people heal. That is my superpower. Always has been. I deserve for my movie to get launched, God versus May God. I deserve for my first album to go viral, The Revelation of D. I deserve multiple contracts where I can make money in my sleep. I deserve to work smart, not hard. I deserve freedom, financial freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom. So I create my reality with my thoughts. What you focus on, you give your power to. What you align your thoughts with is what you receive. If I focus on lack, I will receive lack. If I focus on scarcity, not having enough, I will receive scarcity and not having enough. If I focus on dis-ease, I will continue to be sick. If I focus on the real rejects of YouTube, which I don't, I would allow non-motherfucking factors to stress me out. But if I choose to focus on gratitude, Lord, thank you for my eyesight. Because I remember when I had thyroid cancer. I remember when it went into remission and came back. I remember when they couldn't rule it out. I remember when I was in the hospital thinking that I had colon cancer and my biopsy for the polyp came back benign. Now, ulcers, yes, I was diagnosed with. Gastritis, yes, I was diagnosed with. Internal and external hemorrhoids that need to be removed, I was diagnosed with. I speak healing over all of them. The battle is not what you might say is punishment. It's, are you going to maintain your frequency in the midst of challenges? Are you going to maintain your frequency in the midst of opposition? Are you going to maintain your frequency when you know people are sending spiritual attacks? When I slipped and fell in the shower and fell on my face, I knew it was a spiritual attack because of the prayers I had just prayed. And I saw the women that were praying for that. And then I saw them receive their recompense for it. When you're very powerful, a lot of people will group together to try to take you down, especially when those groups of people are all, being accused of the same shit. Hence why we're doing part two, because way more information has not been being spoken about in these YouTube streets that I'm going to speak about. But I want people to know that your thoughts create your reality. So let your thoughts create a reality where you are receiving healing. Even you, Jaguar. Even you. Good to see you, Andrew. Miss Williams, good to see you, my love. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Now, again, for now, I'm going to leave YouTube up, but if I decide to take YouTube down, y'all make sure y'all pop over to Rumble. And again, we are discussing part two, Jaguar Wright sex trafficked me, they said, allegedly, as well as Diddy and Trump being sued. Now, Diddy has a hearing set for September 25th for his defense attorneys to push for an acquittal or a new trial for his current charges, where he is being sentenced on October 3rd. So I found this via ABC News. It just creeps me out how he always looks confused in all of his photos when he gets caught on some shit. Like, why does he look confused here, sir? Why do you, sir, why do you look confusion? Why is there always a look of confusion? Did I do that looking ass? Yes, it was you, Diddy. So, again, it's the audacity of his defense attorneys to just, it's like they're all insane, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. Y'all have pushed for this man to get out on bail, and at every turn, Judge Arun has said, fuck no, because he is a danger and a flight risk. No, not letting him out of jail. Now you guys want to push for an acquittal or a new trial? For what? And again, where are all of the Busby people? Where's all the victims that Tony Busby was representing? Why the fuck haven't we heard from any of them? If you're going to do a new trial, I think we need to get all of the people that went to Busby, with their accusations, not unless they have all now backed down in fear, thinking that they won't get justice. And that's the shitty part about what Diddy's attorneys are doing, is you guys are making real victims feel like their voices are not going to be heard, but you will be held accountable. Because see, there's another court. There's a heavenly court that all you motherfuckers are going to have to answer to while you're living and after you transition. You can have all of your secret societal protectors on this planet, but all of us have an expiration date, because we're all human. We're both human and divine. Every one of us have an expiration date on this planet. So even if you temporarily get away with something here, you're not going to get away in eternity. And that's where it's going to be the worst. So, yeah. Sean Diddy Combs acquitted of most serious charges. Combs was found guilty of 2 of the 5 charges he faced, but was acquitted of the most serious charge, racketeering conspiracy. He remains behind bars after the judge refused to release him on bail. So again, those of y'all that keep believing that bullshit video circulating on TikTok that he got out, he did not. He is being detained as we speak at MDC, awaiting his sentencing date, court date, which is October 3rd. Now, a court hearing is set for Sean Diddy Combs' attorneys to argue for his acquittal on the 2 prostitution-related charges on which he was convicted in July. That's July of this year. U.S. District Court Judge, I just call him Judge Odorum because I really can't pronounce his last name. I don't want to keep trying to butcher it. Subramanian. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. Who presided over the 55-year-old music impresario's trial. I'm going to need y'all to stop giving him these bullshit ass titles. Call him what he is, a predator. Okay? Because let's be real, Diddy did not make a whole bunch of big hits. The only song I can even think of that this man was a part of was Last Night that he did with Keisha Cole. And it's only because Keisha Cole was on that song. Stop acting like he was Tupac or some shit, because he definitely wasn't. Now, they scheduled this hearing for September 25th in Manhattan on the motion Combs' attorneys filed, asking the judge to either throw out the convictions or grant Combs a new trial. Oh, I forgot to, hold on. I got to add the other screenshots. This is very different from when I could just share screen a website, but y'all bear with me because I got to talking and forgot to keep adding the rest of this article. Hold on. It's the sheer audacity for me. Like, for real, it's the audacity. Because, see, one can't take accountability if one is not being held accountable. How is he ever, like, for real, how are you ever going to get better if everyone just acts like what you did wasn't wrong and the victims should have just all shut the fuck up and know? Like, come on, man. It's bullshit. All right, so, oh, that's just another picture. That's not the one I wanted. There we go. Here we go. So, a federal jury acquitted the hip hop mogul and businessman of 2 counts of sex trafficking, when that was the more serious and most consistent accusation, and of the most serious charge, 1 count of racketeering conspiracy. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to that because in the new case that names Jaguar in there, that's the count. The hearing that's coming up on October 14th is specifically regarding racketeering conspiracy. So again, he could still be found guilty of the RICO in that case. Just because he got off on this one doesn't mean he's going to get off on that one. And I keep wondering, why aren't the content creators talking about the RICO for the upcoming hearing? Well, because everyone's, caught up in all the other distractions. This one names Jaguar. This one names Big Homie CC. This one names Druski. This one names Odell Beckham. All people who have circulated during the Diddy sphere, this past year of the whole Diddy sphere, covering all the stories. Big Homie CC, y'all have seen him on the Blue Couch. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I haven't seen a lot of his content. I've watched a couple of the videos. He's not, I'm uncensored. He's boring to me. I'm just gonna be real. Like I lost because I've got ADHD and shit from Graves' disease. My attention span, if you don't capture me in the first like 30 seconds, like most people on social media, you pretty much lose the audience. So I saw some of his content, but I wasn't like Big Homie CC's on, I gotta go watch. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, he's another person claiming to be a truth teller. I ain't gonna hold y'all. At that point, I was already questioning Jaguar herself, even though we were a lot. I was questioning a lot of people. So all these new people coming out with more stories, it just seemed clout chasey to me. Like everybody just want to now come forward, speak the truth because it's trending to do it. But where the fuck was all of y'all when the shit was actually going on? Why wasn't y'all speaking out then? I could see why the victims weren't speaking out. Why weren't the bodyguards like him and Gene Deal? Why the fuck y'all wasn't talking then? Did you have NDAs? Or were y'all a part of it? That's a fair question for, the court of public opinion to ask. Because are we really supposed to believe all of y'all are truth tellers that were privy to said events allegedly, that were present allegedly at events? Or have you guys posed as truth tellers to try to get the heat off your ass? Because that's what everybody is saying about Jaguar now. That's what all the YouTube streets is saying. Been fake truth teller trying to allegedly absolve themselves of responsibility. Fake truth teller trying to get the heat off their back because they have their own skeletons of alleged participation. That's what I'm researching to find the deets on. We've seen a lot of deception. What's the actual truth? Are survivors' voices actually being heard, or is this just a big ass media circus to distract people from what's really going on, which is the upcoming World War III, allegedly? I told y'all that the peace treaty is going to be put into place before the end of 2025. You guys will witness that by or before December. You will hear about the peace treaty between Donald Trump, Putin, and Zelensky. I told you that last year at the end of 2024. I keep seeing it every day. All them shaking hands, all the media, articles, all the social media posts. When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as travails a woman in labor. It's just prophecy being fulfilled. God versus Magog, hence my movie, what I was shown in heaven. Everything that they showed me has been manifesting. Everything I told you guys since last year has all manifested. So regardless of the real rejects at YouTube that have tried to call me a fake psychic, well, every fucking thing I told y'all at the end of 2024, has it or has it not manifested? Y'all have told me plenty of times, y'all seen it all manifest. And there will be 4 more transitions from the group of February 9th before the end of 2025. 2 of them are going to be the earlier part of January, and 1 in February. But there will be 2 more. Sometimes I wish the gifts I had I didn't have, but it's all part of embracing your spirituality. Regardless, these people who have positioned themselves in the media and on social media to be advocates and truth tellers have all so far turned out to be full of shit. This is why when people are like, oh, when everybody kept asking me about Ali Card, y'all notice I didn't jump on that like everybody else did, because I knew there was bullshit to that story. When I started getting the premonitions about Jaguar when we were aligned, I prayed for it to not come to pass. I said, I really don't want to believe that this is what it is. But it was, and it still is. So as an actual advocate for survivors of sexual abuse, I feel that it is up to me to do my due diligence to get down to the bottom of the truth and not what mainstream media puts out there. What we know is that on Piers Morgan, Jaguar publicly said her role at the Diddy freak-off parties was a dominatrix. What we know, to be factual, are the things that she spoke about during the Piers Morgan interview. And I remember reviewing that interview as well as her interview with Jonathan Hay on the Blue Couch, when she was being an advocate for him and what he went through with Drake, which was extremely unfortunate, what him and his daughter went through. And again, believing she's a truth teller, he's now a truth teller backing her up. She's being vindicated. There's someone else corroborating her stories. So for all the trolls and the haters that were talking shit, well, here's now Jonathan Hay backing up what she said. Now, just because a person knows a lot of information doesn't mean that they're innocent and have no involvement with the very people that they're snitching on. You told Diddy to snitch and he snitched on you immediately. You did say you were a dominatrix at his parties. You did say that the only reason you got the Baphomet tattoo was to gain access in certain environments to go rescue survivors, but yet not one survivor has come forward to corroborate that story. Not one victim of yours, Jaguar, has come forward to support you saying that. Jonathan Hay got a book deal after his appearance on the Blue Couch with you, and it gave him a lot of great exposure. I do believe Jonathan Hay's stories so far. I haven't seen any reason to doubt his stories. My question is, how involved were you at the time with Jay-Z and Diddy? Did you attend any of the freak-offs, Jonathan, and the party where you mentioned that Jay-Z, you said, had the Baphomet statue? Did you leave or did you stay? I really want to know how involved were all of these different people who have come forward. Because it's hard to know. Well, not really. I know more than most people, but it's hard for the public to believe, I'll say that, what everybody is saying when that's a valid question. How involved were all of them? According to this, docket, they're alleging that Jaguar was very involved, allegedly. Not just in the transportation, but in the actual degradation, which a dominatrix does do degradation. I mean, that's a huge part of your role. And some of the things that they put in this case are things I've actually heard Jaguar say. That's why it's disturbing. Because some of those things have been said to me offline, specifically about the safe house, and the same reaction of the person offering the safe house getting mad when the person that they offered it to rejected said safe house. So again, even if you were incarcerated during the dates that the plaintiffs are giving, it doesn't mean that these events could not have happened on a different date. And at this point, I don't put it past none of y'all. I just don't. I don't believe anymore in truth tellers from within the industry, because most of y'all are completely full of shit and pretending. Shout out to the Freestyle King, by the way. I saw on Instagram, it popped up in my feed, his story where he did an interview. Shot the little flip. He did an interview where he was asked, how does he know what he knows about certain rappers in the industry? He said, because I know him. And he was speaking on knowing how a lot of people be pretending in the industry. I knew what he was saying without saying. I read between all them lines. But he was like, man, I know a lot because I know these rappers. Like, I know these rappers and I know what they on, and I know, because the guy asked him, he said, you're known for not selling your soul like a lot of these other rappers did. He said, yeah. He said, and I know the ones who sold their soul. There's a reason I highly respect that man the way that I do, because that's the first thing I noticed about him the first time I saw him perform at the Cody Blake concert. Shout out to Cody Blake and Loud Music, Up Above Entertainment, Clover G Records. Shout out to Derek McKinney. Shout out to Corey with the Keys. Shout out to Up Above Media. Shout out to Zero. Shout out to Don Key, Little Kiki. Shout out to the Screwed Up Click. Because out of all of these rappers, seems like they the only ones that's real. A rapper not afraid to publicly acknowledge God and say we don't sell our souls is why I have always supported him. From the very first moment I saw him perform, I was like, that's what's up. Not afraid to acknowledge God. I can resonate with that frequency. Not selling their souls or booty holes. I can resonate with that frequency. And that's a frequency that I will support until I see different. That's like what, even at the casting call when they asked me, you know, why do you want to work with Up Above and Flip, I said because he keeps God first. That's extremely rare, especially in the industry where everybody's on board with this undercover satanic agenda bullshit, and they get mad at people like me for exposing it. Well, given what I come from and what I've been through, it's my job spiritually to do this. Ain't nobody paying me to do this. This is what I was told to do when I signed the soul contract in heaven and came back down here. There's a few real ones in this industry, but a lot of people have sold their souls willingly for wealth and fame on a condemned planet, have willingly sacrificed loved ones for wealth and fame on a condemned planet that belongs to the fallen angels. So anybody who's walking in righteousness or walking with the frequency of the Most High God are people I'm going to get behind and support. They don't have to give me nothing. If you inspire me, I'm going to support you. I'm going to promote you. I'm a digital marketer. That's what I do. Period. So shout out to the real ones that's staying down and staying real no matter what. Shout out to Flip for always being respectful to me in every venue, event I've ever gone to. Thank you for always being respectful, sir. There's a reason I support you the way that I do. Thank you for the utmost respect you showed in person, unlike other people that, you know, was just trying to get some ass. So I appreciate the ones that are real because I see so many of these so-called celebrities. They'll sell shit. They'll sell their mama out. They'll sell their kids out, spouse out, relatives. They'll sacrifice anybody. And you don't have to do that. If you align your frequency with receiving abundance, you will receive it. You don't have to sell your soul. You don't have to sacrifice people. That's something people chose to do. So if you chose to do that, then you should be held accountable for it. And pretending to be a truth teller is not going to absolve you if you indeed were involved in any of this shit, sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy. If you did any of this satanic ritual abuse, satanic sexual ritual abuse, you will be held accountable by the Most High God. We don't give no fucks about your secret societies that are not so secret. We don't give a fuck about your degrees and what your position is on a fucking pyramid. The true chosen of God are on this planet to right the wrongs that those of you who have willingly followed the fallen have done. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. That's exactly what these people are doing in these courtrooms, just like on Mystery of Iniquity by Lauryn Hill, when she talked about that. Political gladiators exchanging souls, trading souls. Y'all need to look up the lyrics to that song. Mystery of Iniquity goes in. Shout out to Lauryn Hill. The court hearing on Combs' request will come a week before he is scheduled to be sentenced on October 3rd on the prostitution-related conviction. So again, His attorneys have filed for a hearing on the 25th of September to try to get the prostitution charges dismissed, acquitted, thrown out, new trial. A week before he is sentenced for the very charges. Isn't that something? That y'all, boy, I'm telling you, it's the audacity for me. It is the audacity. Combs is being held in MDC. Again, his request for bail was denied on August 3rd. So y'all just stop tripping about that fake ass AI video circulating on TikTok alleging that he is free. He's at MDC. That motherfucker did not get out. Man, I can't believe the judge let him out. Everybody kept saying, I said, the judge didn't let him out. Do y'all research? See, that's why I can present like screenshots. I research. I'm not gonna believe no shit just because they said it on a social media platform. No, I'm gonna go look it up and see if it's true. I said, no, he's not out. Trust me when I say he's not out. I'm trying to find the screenshot with the reasoning. Y'all give me a second. Okay, this might be it. Let me remove some of these so I can add some new ones. Because, yeah, this man's being sued by so many people. And there is still the other lawsuit of the guy that just accused him of sexual assault and battery from when he allegedly, had another freak off at a warehouse and had them allegedly all on, GHB and such, okay, allegedly. And then said he started watching an adult video on his phone and told the guy to finish him off and then went and grabbed one of Biggie's shirts to nut on. Again, why do you have an alleged warehouse with Biggie's clothes in it if you were innocent? Because they say that allegedly serial killers always keep items from their alleged victims. I'm just saying. You have a warehouse with Diddy's clothes in it, or with Biggie's clothes in it, and allegedly you took one of his shirts to nut on and then threw the semen covered shirt onto the guy that didn't want to have sexual relations with you. I mean, you have a lot of the same type of accusations, right? And your attorneys are actually still trying to get you acquitted. All of y'all going straight to hell. Don't make no damn sense. People being that fucking evil is ridiculous. I understand we're in the last days, but that's still a lot. Now, of course, we know Combs is being held at MDC in Brooklyn. Judge Arun denied his request for bail on August 4th, ruling he remains a risk of flight and a danger to the community, 1,000%, pointing to the violence exhibited on 2016 hotel surveillance footage showing him kicking and dragging his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, where he beat the dog shit out of her. That's the man y'all saying free Diddy, a motherfucker that beat her down. She was pissing herself. You know how hard you have to be hurting a person to get them to pee on themselves? We all saw that shit. And some of y'all in this industry, let me touch on y'all right quick. Some of y'all in this industry talking about free Diddy, Rayford, and Kanye, also who have been named and accused of witnessing and participating in the same set events allegedly. It amazes me to see these men with daughters who saw the same footage we all saw say free Diddy. Really? Really? How anybody could watch that footage and not see this man for what he is shows just how, like, for real brainwashed a lot of y'all are. Or technically bewitched y'all are by people in this industry that are evil as hell. See, I thank God I woke up and started accepting what I was being shown in the 5D instead of being in denial because you don't want to believe people that you believed in are completely full of shit. A lot of times you need to believe that shit. Instead of what you want to believe what the fuck they are showing you. Now, in their motion for a new trial, Combs' attorneys argued in part that the Mann Act, the law under which Combs was convicted, was too broadly interpreted to apply to him. that the evidence used to support his conviction was lacking, and that spillover prejudice, next screenshot, spillover prejudice from evidence introduced to support the charges on which Combs was acquitted was inflammatory. The defense lawyers argued in their motion that the evidence would have been inadmissible had Combs been tried only under the Mann Act. They are definitely fulfilling the stereotypes of attorneys that they will lose their conscience and lie for, money, which is quite sad. Okay, hold on. I had to find the screenshot to upload to go to the next page. Okay. Combs doesn't dispute hiring male escorts. Pause. So now you finally admitted after you've been convicted. Well, sir, I mean, it wasn't hard to see that that clearly was fucking true, given the mountain of evidence against your ass. But his attorneys argued in their motion that the Mann Act doesn't prohibit Combs's conduct because he lacked a commercial motive and did not intend for paid escorts to have sex with him. Pause. An escort is someone who is paid for either companionship or sex. Not all escorts have sex with people. There are escorts out there that get paid just to accompany a person, go on a date with them, no physical contact. That is a possibility, but in your circumstance, sir, every single victim had the same story that you, including Cassie, that you had hired men to have sex. That's what you were convicted for. That's why you got convicted for prostitution. Okay. Talking about he lacked a commercial motive and did not intend for paid escorts to have sex with him, even though plenty of them have alleged that they did. But rather to watch and video record them having sex with girlfriends and sexual encounters referred to in trial testimony as freak-offs, which his attorneys contended is protected First Amendment activity. Pause. So you're telling me that women being laced with GHB baby oil, women being sprayed with perfume laced with GHB, women being given water and wine and drinks with GHB and Special K, being injected with Special K, being injected with pills and other drugs, allegedly, that all of this is protected under his First Amendment rights. See, y'all forgot about all that other shit. The 1,000 bottles of baby oil that tested positive for GHB, which I went into full on blown detail and showed y'all all those deep. Again, for those of you that are new to my channel, please go back and watch my lives from this past year. I know they're lengthy. Put that shit on while you eating dinner or when you need something to watch, because I actually share screen and show y'all the receipts. So y'all just think, because the attorneys think because time has passed, everybody just forgot about the 1,000 bottles of baby oil that tested positive for GHB. All of the evidence confiscated from his locations that were raided that also tested positive for GHB and Special. The viral video of Janice Combs and him kissing each other on the lips, and she's getting a drip, an IV drip, which in a lot of the victims' testimonies that were all consistent with after they were allegedly drugged, they were given intravenous fluid, IV fluids. Janice Combs also had white nail polish, which Cassie described was a requirement from Diddy for her to stroke the male escorts. That he asked all the women to paint their nails white to stroke the male escorts as he video recorded them. And, got off on that. There's nothing wrong with, if you like bisexual shit, I'm bisexual. Just living your truth, Diddy, allegedly. Now, why did Janice Combs have the same nail polish as Cassie and the other girlfriends if Janice is allegedly Diddy's mom? Does that now mean that Janice also allegedly stroked off the paid escorts? Is that maybe why Janice is also named in this hearing coming up on October 14th? Is it maybe possible that Cassie was actually telling the truth and that these other so-called truth tellers were lying through their fucking teeth, allegedly? See, all that's protected under his First Amendment rights, according to his attorneys. Sounds like the attorneys probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we later find out that all of Diddy's attorneys were on his guest list. I wouldn't be surprised at all. That is going to be something I'm going to be researching. Now, let me get to... Okay, this is what I was looking for. Because I want y'all to actually see what his attorneys are trying to do. The Mann Act is a federal law that makes it a criminal offense to knowingly transport. Pause. Do you understand now why it was so important for him to get off on the RICO and sex trafficking charges? That's why his attorneys probably didn't mind him getting convicted of the lesser charge, long as he got off on the RICO and sex trafficking charge. Long as he got acquitted for that, they feel like he can make a bounce back in the public eye. That's what they've said. So yeah, makes it a criminal offense to knowingly transport any individual, male or female, in interstate or foreign commerce or in any territory or possession of the United States for the purpose of prostitution or sexual activity, which is a criminal offense under the federal or state statute or local ordinance. So if they can try to prove that Diddy never did any prostitution, that these people were all willing, consensual people that chose to travel, although there was enough evidence for him to get convicted. Because if he was innocent, he would have got released. He would have never got convicted. So then it goes on to say, hold on. I really miss being able to share screen, but I'm going to work with the screenshots. Okay. Actually, I already pulled that one up. Hold on, y'all, bear with me. Keep selecting a different one and it keeps uploading the same. Because I really, really, really want you guys to see what he is having them to say and do to try to get him absolved of taking accountability and responsibility for the accusations. Okay. So Ventura testified during the trial that the freak-offs took place at different residences, or in hotels in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Las Vegas, Ibiza, and Turks and Caicos. Another former Combs' girlfriend, testifying under the pseudonym Jane, referred to the sexual encounters as hotel nights. Escorts traveled. Pause. How the fuck are the attorneys going to try to get him an acquittal in a case dismissal or a new trial when escorts travel. Now, I understand that travel and trafficking hold two different types of definitions, but are definitely under the same family of transportation. So if you pay for the transportation, if you're financing that, then you are indeed considered to be trafficked, allegedly. Escorts traveled to these freak-offs with Ventura and hotel nights with Jane. The defendant discussed the escorts' travel with Ventura and Jane, prosecutors said in their filing, further noting that the travel arrangements were generally made at the defendant's direction. So again, I ain't gonna hold y'all. I feel like the September 25th hearing is just a very desperate last attempt to try to get this man to not be held accountable for what he has been convicted and accused of, which is just ridiculous. Hold on. Okay, I think this is the one I was looking for. Maybe, let me see. Okay, here we go. In a response to the defense motion, prosecutors argue that the law doesn't distinguish between voyeurism and profit. Pause. I'm a voyeur. A voyeur is someone who becomes aroused by watching other people engage in sexual activity or by being watched. That was the thing I loved the most when I first was introduced to swinging lifestyle. Again, voyeurism is something that you are choosing to do. Sir, you have been accused of allegedly detaining women in rooms where they were locked in. I mean, hell, you said it yourself on the Conan O'Brien show in 2005. When he asked you what made a killer party, you said you got to, get them in the room and lock them and turn the AC off and make sure it's really hot and get them a lot of water. Yeah, that's what is needed when you are allegedly drugging people with GHB and such and other alleged pharmaceuticals. Voyeurism, kink, being freaky, and then paying people to have sex, two different things. It's one thing to be freaky, be on some freaky shit, consensual in a group setting. It's another thing to get paid for that shit. It's another thing to hire male escorts to travel with your girlfriends. That's not a group of consenting adults getting together on some freaky shit at an adult party. That's the very definition of sex trafficking. Paying male escorts to travel to perform sex. Now, I don't know what law school his attorneys went to. I'm not even an attorney. We can just put two and two together, sir. If you financed male escorts traveling Sean Diddy Combs, then you should be convicted for sex trafficking and RICO. I have a feeling that this appeal is going to actually turn out to not be in your favor. It's going to make you look more guilty. But yeah, according to this, he transported escorts across state lines to engage in freak-offs for pay. Because again, that's what an escort. They make the decision if they're going to engage in sexual activity or just be your companion. But either way, they get paid. That's why they're called escorts. He directed the sexual activity of escorts and victims throughout freak-offs for his own sexual gratification, and he personally engaged in sexual activity during freak-offs. Prosecutors said of Combs in their filing, there was more than a sufficient basis, viewing the evidence in the light most favorable to the government, to support the counts of conviction. Counts, plural. Now, oh wait, I already pulled that one up. Next screenshot. Hold on. Okay. Okay, wait, I already read that one. I think I took multiple of the same screenshot as I was reading through the article. Hold on, y'all, bear with me. Or maybe that might have been the end of the article. Let me take a look. Yeah, that was the end of the article. Now, ironically, under related topics, I saw the article about Trump getting sued and the pastor of that mega church getting convicted for sex trafficking. Yeah, leaders of Mexican mega church indicted in New York. Ironically, same place as him. Indicted in New York on federal sex trafficking charges. And again, this was on September 10th. This was all on the same day that Charlie Kirk was uh, allegedly sacrificed. And I had told y'all before about how I've seen videos on YouTube of women who confess to being hired to abduct children from mega churches because they said it's an easier place because it's so big, which is really sad. Um, Nason Joaquin Garcia, the leader of a Mexico-based evangelical church with a worldwide membership, attends a bail review hearing in Los Angeles Superior Court on July 15th, 2019. So this is the guy who apparently is the pastor of this mega church in Mexico. Bring up this photo. Yeah. That was convincing his membership that the only way to heaven was to sleep with him. You guys would be surprised how much of this shit goes on and how much people really do believe in that bullshit. So yeah, the leader of other emissaries of Iglesia La Luz del Mundo abused the power, doctrine, and structure of the megachurch to sexually abuse generations of girls, boys, and women. Prosecutors in New York allege Wednesday in a sweeping federal racketeering indictment. Again, it's amazing how this is a common theme. The RICO. It's a common thing, and it's a common thing that I'm so glad is finally getting exposed, especially when it comes to churches. It's just so despicable to me that people have no respect. And this is why when people ask me why I don't do religion and church, this is why. Especially as a survivor of sexual abuse, being raped at a church as a child and as an adult, that's supposed to be the safest place anyone can go to. That should never be a place where people have to be concerned about the safety of themselves or their children. And unfortunately, because it's a place where predators are allowed, that unfortunately happens until enough people come forward and expose it and make these disgusting motherfuckers be held accountable. But a lot of people, especially where I'm from, everybody just wants to sit in silence. And like I told all of y'all, your silence is compliance. Just because you didn't say, yes or no doesn't mean that it's right. So Garcia allegedly followed a disturbing tradition established by his father and grandfather. Pause. Generational curses. Those of us that are the black sheep that are speaking out in our real lives or on social media, we are the ones breaking these curses. Look at what it just said. He followed a disturbing tradition established by his father and grandfather, who both served as apostles of the church and who prosecutors said abused and raped congregants. The indictment says, pause. Apostles, to all the apostolic church religious followers that I grew up with, apostles. In the Bible, the apostles were the followers of Yeshua, the true Christ. It amazes me how people really truly have no conscience. How you can sit in a church which is supposed to, be a house of God, call yourself an apostle, call yourself a pastor, presiding bishop, whatever title you want to give yourself, just so you can use that title to manipulate and sexually abuse the members. Because let's be real, most people that go to church are people who are survivors of some sort of abuse. That's why they're there. They're looking for healing. They're looking for God. They're looking for community. They're looking for acceptance. A lot of broken people join churches because they want to feel a sense of community and acceptance and validation. So if you join a community where there's corruption going on, everybody talks about it at home or behind closed doors or over the phone, but no one has the courage to come forward to try to stop it, then you have to ask yourself, what are you willingly participating in? If you know that your pastor has been accused for decades of rape and molestation of members, why have you all talked about it privately, but no one has publicly held these ministers, these pastors, these people accountable? Now we know that a lot of people get threatened. Even where I come from, the pastor there threatened his own nieces, and they were afraid to speak out, which is why they sent me the deeds to, put on blast on my channel. Because I don't give no fucks about the life. You just do it. But you, sir, have been accused, even by your own late father, for having an affinity, allegedly, to young white boys with blonde hair and blue eyes. Several times he called upon the prayer team to pray for you. Pray that my son loses his affection for young boys. Who's now the pastor of the same church where my mother's a member, and I love my mother dearly, but she's like, well, I wasn't here when all that was going on, so I can't speak. Well, I was there. I joined that church when I was 19 years old. And I was raped and made to go to church and sit next to my ex-fiance like the shit didn't happen. And tried to get other people help who also didn't think anyone would believe them, especially those kids. And then y'all wondered why I left the way that I did. I wasn't going to be a part of corruption. I wasn't going to be a member somewhere where I tell my pastor that my ex-fiance raped me while being possessed by a demon. And you told me to be silent and don't go to the police and don't file a police report and don't bring a scandal to the church because, there's already so many scandals. They're already investigating us for money extortion and money laundering, which there was evidence of that found later after I left. And not even evidence from me, evidence from other people working there in the same offices that I worked in. See, when you turn a blind eye to things that you know is wrong, you are just as guilty as the predator. But when you're like me and I went to the police anyway, not about my rape, I went to the police about the children that had reported that certain pastors, Robin Andrews, and other people were allegedly sexually assaulting them. I went to the police about that and was told that without evidence, it's hearsay, we cannot perform any investigation. You need some victims to come forward with you to the police station and give their account of what you're telling us. Otherwise, we can't arrest anybody off of hearsay. That's what I was told every time I went. And when I had that conversation with Jeremiah, I didn't know that he had been being accused of also allegedly raping members. I didn't know that because he never was that way. I mean, it doesn't mean he didn't do it to other people. So it would explain why I was told to be silent by the person who was the watchman of my soul, or so he said, pastor, spiritual father, the bishop. The same bishop that asked us to stand up, everybody who would die for him. Who would take a bullet for me? Who would die for me? And the whole church stands up. Have no idea that they are being MK Ultra during the congregational service. They have no idea that they're being worked on. For in the last days, many shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. Alima. Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt. All these things that go on in these churches. And people are so always wanting to run after some fucking religion. I keep telling y'all, every religion I have studied has a foundation in Freemasonry. Freemasons are required to pledge to Lucifer during initiation. Sun in the morning. So no, I don't practice religion. I don't follow religions. I don't belong to churches. I carry the Most High God within me. Christ is a frequency you tap into and become. It is not a man you worship. Ain't no white man coming out the sky to carry your stupid ass to heaven. Ain't none of that shit real. I've gone to heaven. None of that's real. I can tell you that based off of my own experience. There is no white man sitting on the right-hand throne of God in heaven. But white supremacists condition all you niggas to think that shit. And that's why to this day, slavery continues. Every time you walk into a black church and see a picture of a white God, that doesn't exist. Because God is neither male nor female and has no ethnicity, no color, no gender. God is an omnipotent spirit, energy. Source is energy at the highest vibration that exists universally. Therefore, source can't lower itself to humanity and become a man. So your prayers to Father God are to Satan, in case y'all didn't know, and or Lucifer if you want to try to have the other name. Y'all need to really know for real the depths of how deep this rabbit hole of deception goes. And that is my job. That's why I don't, this whole being popular shit, I don't give no fucks about that. I signed a soul contract in heaven. They told me exactly what to say when I came back and to expose the dog shit out of the deception of religion specifically, which is why my movie God versus Magog is going to be animated, me showing you exactly what I was showing. And all of you that have, called yourself judging me, you're still blindly following a Luciferian doctrine, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils and calling it religion and calling it Christianity when Christ never claimed a religion. There was no such thing as Christianity. Constantine created that. The Roman emperor for political gain. Just like we see with President grabbed by the pussy with his God Bless America Bible, with a brand new U.S. Constitution and a rewritten U.S. Constitution. Did y'all even know that? Or were you just distracted by all the MAGA bullshit? Did you look at the details of that Bible? Because I did, and I remember showing y'all when I shared it. He wrote a whole new constitution and put it in a Bible right next to the God Bless America song, and charged $60 fucking for the Bible before the inauguration. And he had an inaugural Bible as well. And a personally signed Bible that was $1,000 fucking. Sounds a lot like Constantine, the Roman emperor, aligning or maligning rather with religion for political gain. Just like on the South Park episode that they did where they was roasting President grabbing by the pussy, and they showed Mar-a-Lago and they showed different people getting participation awards. I still kept wondering if that was low-key shade for being thrown towards Jaguar. Because of that episode, you know, them speaking on people getting excited about receiving participation awards from Trump. But they also showed Mar-a-Lago, and they showed how children were locked in rooms massaging older white men at Mar-a-Lago. Now, again, Jaguar, you said you performed as a dominatrix. Did you go to Mar-a-Lago to receive that award? Or did you go to Mar-a-Lago to allegedly gargle Trump's balls? Because you know that scene from Tropic Thunder where Jack Black is having withdrawals from his happy medicine? And he said, I'll cradle the shaft. I'll cradle the balls, stroke the shafts, swallow the gravy. That's what it's starting to give. Especially with all that coonery. Yes, a used to looking at. Were there children being locked at Mar-a-Lago massaging older white men? I don't know, but according to South Park, they say it is. According to South Park, they say that Trump is allegedly fucking Satan. You know, satire, comedy, roasting. But there could also be some truth to that. It's just odd to me how all these people are connected but acting like they're innocent. Then we got this pastor following disgusting traditions from his father and grandfather, which means somebody showed them how to do that, and they just carried on this tradition of generational curses of disturbing and disgusting sexual ritualistic abuse in a church, the one place it should never be. Each leader allegedly manipulated girls and women by telling them they could earn a special blessing by serving his sexual needs, according to the indictment. Doesn't this sound a lot like Diddy? Oh, wait, I just looked over at the chat. Oh, there's a whole lot of comments that I missed. Oh, there's a shit ton of comments. Okay, I will get to all of y'all's. April, good to see you. Good to see you. Miss Williams said, personally, I think Diddy, Jay, Beyonce, Oprah, and Mary J, Usher, and Gene Deal should be under the jail. Oh, trust me when I say all the people you just named, they're all being investigated as we speak. Yep. She said, damn it. As for Jack, not Jack White. I believe she was knee deep in the BS, and at some point she wanted to or tried to be the boss, but when it didn't pan out that way, she started dark practices and became a liar teller. You know what though? Yeah, you know what though, Miss Williams? I could definitely see that. Especially the way she called herself trying to dominate me. Yeah, I was about to ever dominate no damn Scorpio. Yeah, it's like when things didn't go her way, then it's, you know, all the dark shit. Yeah, I do too, Andrew. I think 1000% she was involved. That's why I'm doing this investigation right now. The question is, when did she become involved? Because nobody was checking for Jag and Philly, right? I have a feeling Diddy won't spend more than 5 years. I'm not gonna lie, I saw him dying in prison. I've seen that multiple times in the 5D. So even if he does do only a few years. I just don't think he's going to escape from prison. I really don't. Yep. And you're right. Serial killers do keep souvenirs, which is usually clothing or jewelry. Oh, is this? I hope this is not Odell. Old Musty is issue. Hold up. You know what I'm gonna do? For now, I'm gonna leave it so that I can investigate your channel and report it. I'm gonna leave it for now. Plus, that's also evidence of the um, stupid shit that they do. We knew they was coming out. We don't really give that much attention to the trolls. Right, his aunt slash mom. We still don't have any evidence as to what is his biological relation to Janice, because the kissing on the lips, that's not normal mother-son behavior, especially amongst adult men. Adult men don't typically kiss their mamas on the lips. They might kiss the side of her face or cheek, forehead, but not her lips. Weird. Right, that's what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are sitting here saying free Diddy, specifically Kanye and Rayford, who again both have been named and allegedly participating in the freak offs, and specifically by Jonathan Hay. He said he knew for a fact that Rayford was Jay-Z and Beyonce's cuckold. Now I'm gonna say allegedly for the sake of YouTube, but Jonathan Hay said it wasn't alleged, that he witnessed that shit. I'm just saying. Yeah, cause yeah, trolls just be wanting attention. Yeah, I'll definitely get to him after live. I'm not gonna waste my live uh addressing dumbass trolls. I'll just report their profile and be done with it. Thank you. Anybody who thinks Diddy should be free needs to be locked up with him. 1000%. 1000%. Solo Williams, thank you so much for tuning in again. That New York DC pipeline is a beast. That's who tried trafficking, sacrificing. Wow. You know what, Solo Williams? I would love to hear your story. Um, if you're on Instagram, DM me so we can talk. I would actually love for you to come on panel and tell us about your experience with that. For real. I wish Ava would testify and Usher was subpoenaed to testify about. Wow. See what I mean about, I told y'all the Most High was going to make sure all these people got exposed. Because now the story is that allegedly Usher gave Bieber over to Diddy, allegedly. He needs to be held accountable too. For sure. For sure, for sure. Yep. Yep. Ice cream trucks. They've been doing that. Using the ice cream trucks and shit. It's really horrible. Yeah. Exactly. Definitely a safe place for survivors, which is why we're getting Feather Freedom. We are fine now. They have been neutralized. Troops going into cities is not what you think. I figured that, man. I knew it was more to it than what they was telling us. My dad was a pastor. His friends are all traffickers. Get the, see what I mean? See what I mean? I'm just now seeing these comments. See what I mean? When I found out my former stepdad had fucked that 15-year-old after I left home, after I left high school. Matter of fact, I was a member at that church when all that was going down. I was out of town. I had to keep driving back and forth to go see my mom. When I found out that this man had been fucking not just other women at our church who were married, but teenage girls, I was like, he done lost his fucking mind. But then when we found out more details, because my former stepdad had to do time. He's a registered sex offender. That's why I have no sympathy nor empathy for any sex offender that's on YouTube that you dumb motherfucking stupid ass content creators over this past year supported. And I don't understand how y'all could support people, Cruella DeVille, Auntie Mickey, that supported his motherfucking ass. Because when it came to my former stepdad, I wanted that motherfucker to get the longest time available. I didn't want him to ever get out. When I found out the full extent of what he did, not only after I left home, but the shit that was going on while I was home that was being withheld from us. God is living with a whole racer, sex offender, pedophile, and rapist. That man had raped his own biological brother, my uncle that just passed not too long ago. These preachers getting away with trafficking and abusing. When I tell you all that y'all are going to be held accountable, ain't none of y'all escaping from the shit you. I don't give a fuck how long ago it was. Because that shit my former stepdad did was way back in the early 2000s. I will never forget that shit. My mom was like, yeah, he had sex with a 15-year-old in his mama's bed. She found out and had a heart attack and died. And he couldn't even go to her funeral because he was locked up. I do not hate this man. I forgave him years ago. But everything he did was a complete and utter mockery of the Most High God. I mean, he was having sex with women at our church, physically inside of the church, got caught multiple times. How you fucking a bitch on the baptismal pool where people go to get baptized to get saved? How you fucking a bitch in the Sunday school area where the kids get taught? Then you got her in the office where the money's at, money coming up missing. We can't figure out why the bills for the church, utilities, the money ain't there because you stealing the money and spending it on hoes. When I tell y'all, shit, y'all gonna see in my movie, this shit with these preachers, I'm way harder on them because of the fuck shit I have witnessed growing up and as an adult. The only preacher I ever known who was not a complete piece of shit was my Uncle James, who died from the COVID virus. The only preacher I know. Never cheated on his wife, never abused nobody, never was a part of this trafficking bullshit. In fact, he was the only one like me speaking out against a lot of this. And rescued children. Jaguar Wright, actual rescued children who were survivors of sexual abuse and helped them to rehabilitate. He didn't sit up there and say he knew a bunch of people and never. No, we lived with them. That's what you're supposed to do. Rescue and aid in their healing, not participate in the abduction, in the sexual abuse. And then want to call yourself a freedom fighter and defender of freedom and an advocate for survivors of sexual abuse. Bullshit. And Solo, I'm really sorry to hear that. That sucks like ass. I don't know if my father knew what was going on because he struggled as if he refused to do something. My brother is a boule. Wow. Yeah, you gotta hit me up so we can talk. You gotta hit me up. Definitely, fam. Definitely glad. See, all of us are the ones that made it out, family. If y'all didn't realize that by now. Like, all of us are the ones that made it out. They are still coming for me, but it won't work. The city of Denver this time. Look up Danya Williams versus United States Deep State Direct won't stop. They erased my mom, friends, etc. I can't see the chat. That means somebody must have reported them. Okay. No. No, it's probably some dumbass, some troll in the chat doing stupid shit. Have you been commenting because you? Yeah, I haven't seen your Neptune. I hadn't seen your comments until just now, from 4 minutes ago. Yep, definitely did notice that. How can someone say free Diddy? Yeah. And you're right, Solo. That's all it's about. They're losing power. That's why they're doing all this shit. They know that they're losing power. Meanwhile, you got pastors out here trying to convince people that they can get special blessings by sexually satisfying them. It really makes me angry. It really does. When I think about the children of these women that my former stepdad was having inappropriate sexual relationships with in front of them, by the way, and I remember my mom was like, "How would you feel if he died?" I said, "I'd be relieved." Well, at one point he was your stepfather, yeah, and to think about the fact that I was living with a whole predator and didn't know it is even more disturbing. People have to understand that when you are a real survivor of sexual abuse, you don't have empathy for abusers. There's no empathy. Once they transition, another predator gone. Thank God. That's my opinion on it. Forgiving a person doesn't mean that you accept them being a fucked up individual. Ben forgave him, but it's like, dude, you destroyed so many people's minds and families and have the audacity to have another church with the side bitch you cheated on mom with. I mean, where the fuck they do that at? And you're a registered sex offender. I don't even know how the fuck you can get a church. You're not even supposed to be within 100 feet of a child. But then again, the side chick, you was with was a sheriff, so maybe she helped you. Regardless, it's very easy for predators to lurk and hide in churches because God forgives everybody. Stop speaking for God. Hell exists for a reason. And I'm gonna be honest, I have never ever witnessed a pedophile be able to successfully be rehabilitated. Because even when they feel like they've been helped, there's always something in them unhealed that makes them want to seek out minors. And then this whole minor attracted person bullshit that y'all keep trying to add to the LGBTQIA community that we ain't going for. We're not making minor attracted persons or maps a new sexual orientation. Y'all can kiss all of our rainbow asses with that bullshit. Trying to now make pedestry an accepted sexual orientation. And pedestry is indeed the actual first and original definition of homosexuality because it specifically defines pedestry as an adult male having a sexual relationship with a boy, not consenting adults. Pedophilia, which Diddy has been accused of repeatedly. Mr. I woke up and fought with Usher over the frosted flakes when Usher was 10 and you were all either 19 or 20 years old. Real weird. The defendants are also charged with inducing church donations that prosecutors said funded expense travel for Garcia and others. You know, those building funds y'all pay into, including in your tithes and offering that you pay into that ain't got nothing to do with God whatsoever, including lieutenants who made sure he always had someone available to sexually abuse. Let's say that one more again. Lieutenants who made sure he always had someone available to sexually abuse. Donated funds were also used to buy sex toys and cleaning supplies to hide evidence, prosecutors said. The church did not immediately respond to ABC News' request for comment. Attorney information for Garcia and the other defendants was not yet available. So again, this popped up under related reads as I was investigating about the upcoming hearing that Diddy's attorneys filed for to try to basically try to get him off on the charges that are sticking. Now, this next one is about Trump getting sued. Diddy's prosecutor reportedly activates legal battle against Donald Trump's administration. Let me bring up the deets on this. The federal prosecutor. Oh, wait, you know what I just thought about? Before I go into this, what I'm going to do with you is ban you here. That way, if you're in the chat doing fuck shit, now you can't do nothing. Now, Diddy's former prosecutor, Maureen Comey, is rebelling against Donald Trump's administration for her perceived unfair job termination. The federal prosecutor has dragged Trump's government to court for failing to follow due legal process in their decision to relieve her of her duties as an attorney officially. Maureen Comey, as an attorney under Donald Trump's government, was involved in several high-profile cases, including number one, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Sean Diddy Combs. Diddy's former prosecutor alleges witch hunt by Donald Trump's administration. And I'll give it to her. She did not waste not nan time filing that damn lawsuit. I don't even blame her, for real. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to show y'all this. Okay, before I get into that, I forgot to show y'all this about the pastor. I just saw that when I was looking at my screenshots. Now, this is back to that pastor. The indictment named LLDM leader Naslan Joaquin Garcia, who is currently serving a prison sentence in California after being convicted of sexually abusing young followers, and 5 others who were being arrested Wednesday in various locations, law enforcement officials said. The indictment said the defendants used LLDM, founded in Mexico in 1926, as a vehicle to traffic women and children. They're talking about a church. So defendants are saying that this pastor used the church to traffic women and children and to produce child pornography and commit financial crimes. Sounds right up the alley of these other corrupt fucking pastors. It's disgusting. I'm trying to bring up the screenshot. It made me delete a couple of the other ones. Now, this is a photo of his church. And as you can see, it's gigantic. Imagine how many women and children were allegedly trafficked in this. That's a huge church with probably several rooms where people could allegedly be abducted and held for ceremonial preparation to be a sacrificial victim, like what I've shown you guys on the satanic ritual calendar. It said Garcia allegedly managed a close circle of co-conspirators who facilitated his abuse of teens and young women and directed them to produce child sex videos for his own gratification, according to prosecutors. Pause. One of the two of the young ladies that were little girls when we had our church, when they were adults and we all hung out, they both told me that their former stepfather, who at the time was our church deacon, that he had been allegedly molesting them since they were like 5, making them do stuff to each other and recording it. And I'm thinking, in this small town, this man who comes to church faithfully, gives offering, is a deacon, plays the drums, that this unsuspecting deacon could have been so diabolical to not only sexually abuse children, but record it. And I knew that they weren't lying, because the trauma that came up when they told me was real. And my heart broke. I said, not your dad, too. So it's like I'm coming to terms with, in my late 20s, early 30s, that this man who I called my former stepdad was indeed a predator and a pastor. And then how do you go to the member's house and fuck their mom while the kids are right there in the living room? And the kids know that that ain't your wife. Now, some of them were younger. They were like 5, 6 years old, but the two oldest ones were teenagers. They knew exactly what was going on. I didn't know. So I was a teenager at home. So to find all this out when we're all adults, I just was like, man, this is so fucked up. The other reason I'm such the advocate that I am, because it's like you grow up in these environments thinking that these churches are safe, the pastors are safe, the ministers are safe, the Sunday school teachers are safe, the members that you have babysitting your kids are safe, only to find out as an adult that all of us were sexually abused by members of the fucking church or relatives. So again, we have to wonder, why is this so common? Why is the sexual abuse of children so common? Everywhere, not just Hollywood, not just the industry and entertainment, everywhere. Sports, military, politics, church, schools. Allegedly, even they say CPS allegedly is involved in it too. If it's that many people involved, there's definitely a hidden agenda. And it's my goal to uncover that and have all these people held accountable. That's disgusting. You abuse teenagers and young women and children inside of a church and make them think that that's of God. If that isn't the highest form of blasphemy, I don't know what is. He allegedly selected teens to abuse under the guise of church activities. Pause. He allegedly selected teens to abuse under the guise of church activities. Reminiscing on young people leaders and young people night and young people this and young people that. Teaching congregants from birth that they would be eternally damned if they did not obey him and his sexual desires. Investigators say Garcia leveraged that fear to prevent many of the teens and young women he preyed on from rejecting and reporting him. Now, this sounds a lot like where I'm from. I was never told that I would be eternally damned if I didn't have sex with Jeremiah Reed. However, other women have reported that they were, allegedly. For sake of YouTube. But the whole, how many of y'all would take a bullet for me? Everybody stand up. And the few people that didn't stand up got excommunicated and dragged for filth. So again, when you are following a man, religion is following another person's interpretation of who God is. Spirituality is having your own. That way, you're not giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devil, blindly following other people. The legal practitioner in a lawsuit filed in federal court in Manhattan claimed her termination was too sudden and without any prior knowledge. Comey, who is the daughter of the former FBI director James Comey, added that she was also targeted due to her connection with her dad. The lawsuit described the termination as unconstitutional and unlawful, noting that she was fired because her father is former FBI Director James B. Comey, or because of her perceived political affiliation and beliefs, or both. In the lawsuit, Comey noted that she was notified about her sack via email in July, despite a sparkling record of positive performance reviews, promotions spanning over a decade. Well, that's what they do when they want to get rid of you. They won't give no explanation. They'll give a bullshit explanation and then still do it, unfortunately. Now, it says before her dismissal, the attorney stated in her lawsuit that she was approached to lead a major public corruption case. Interesting. Comey joined the United States Attorney's Office in November 2015 and maintained a steady career progression through the ranks. She led several units and was eventually asked to rejoin her colleagues and get things running in the courtroom. Before the termination of her employment, the attorney was on the prosecution team of Diddy. Interesting. Before her termination, she was on the prosecution team of Diddy, who is awaiting his sentence scheduled for October. Now, this says October 3rd. That is for the sentencing, but for the other case, it is October 14th. Comey reportedly engaged in questioning of key witnesses, including Cassie, who was in a relationship with the rapper for more than a decade. The former federal prosecutor also prosecuted Robert Haddon for sexually abusing his patients alongside her Epstein and Maxwell cases. So I think we can see here the pattern. Oh, you're a prosecuting attorney? We're going to get rid of you. That's horrible. Okay. Now, here we go. Before the termination of employment, again, the attorney was on the prosecuting team of Diddy, who was awaiting his sentencing. Comey reportedly engaged in questioning. Oh, wait, I read that one already. Hold on. It uploaded the same screenshot. Let me delete some of these. Because, yeah, it ain't no coincidence that she was a prosecutor against Epstein and Diddy. Then all of a sudden, you just out of nowhere get terminated with no, you know, no explanation, no warning. You're doing a good job thinking you're making money for them. Meanwhile, they're doing everything they can to get rid of you because of what you may expose. Hold on, I think this is the right screenshot. No, actually, that is the same screenshot. Hold on. Okay. Damn it. That's not the screenshot I was looking for. Oh, maybe this is the one I was looking for. Hold on. That's weird that it keeps doing the same exact screenshot even though I'm selecting a different one. Hold on, you guys. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna remove all these because for whatever reason, this is clearly a glitch within StreamYard. It keeps uploading the same exact image file, even though I am selecting a different one. Okay, here it is. The first CNN, the attorney has now added to the statistics of several federal civil servants fired by Trump who have filed lawsuits to either request a reversal in their termination or seek damages. That's what happens though when you have a bully in office. Shit, Cat Williams called that shit. He said, we're gonna see what it's like to have a fucking bully in office. Okay, hold on. You know what? Since I can't get that to act right, I'm just not gonna. Because I think what I would have to do is reload StreamYard, which will kick me out of the studio. So, regardless, what I will do after the live, I'm gonna drop the links of all the sources for tonight's screenshots. That way you can go look at it also on your own time. What I wanted y'all to see was what the attorneys were trying to say to defend his behavior. Yeah, and also the fact that he is hoping for sentencing help from some of the escorts he hired for the freak offs. It's like either he is extremely arrogant or he's starting to lose it a little bit in there. Because on what planet would escorts who are accusing you of sexual abuse be the ones to testify on your behalf unless they are allegedly paid to do so? As early as Friday, Combs' legal team intends to submit a sentencing brief to the judge, arguing that some of these entertainers gave prosecutors never revealed interviews that actually helped the defense. It's just all too convenient, the timing. He's already been convicted. Now he's getting ready to get sentenced, and all of a sudden you want to have a new trial and you want to try to get acquitted because you probably allegedly paid some people to say some shit, just like when they said you allegedly paid Kalina Harper to go online giving you a positive, essentially, review right at the same time that Don Richards' accusations against you came out. Just all the same thing. It said federal prosecutors want any pre-sentencing arguments relating to these pretrial interviews to be sealed from the public. Statements of non-testifying witnesses are traditionally considered non-public. It's it's the audacity, plus the prosecutor getting fired unfairly, and then from the looks of it, nothing actually being done about it. Now, here's what took me out. This shit here. The defense has said they will ask for 0 jail time and told Business Insider last month that he is a changed man who hopes to become an anti-domestic abuse advocate. Pause. You beat the damn near living shit out of Cassie on video, and you didn't know you were being videoed, which means you have probably done much worse on multiple other occasions, allegedly. Um, sir, sir, I know that there are some real rejects of YouTube that might believe this, but the vast majority of people aren't believing you being an anti domestic abuse advocate is just as believable as Jaguar being an advocate for survivors of sexual abuse with that fake ass Defender of Freedom Participation Award. People ain't believing that shit. You want to be an anti domestic abuse advocate, but yet you still have current charges from other men and women and those who at the time that were children being levied against you. It's insane to me. They argued this month that the escorts should not count as victims in the judge's sentencing math. The government has taken the view that several consenting male entertainers who willingly consented to sexual activity with Miss Ventura and Jane are now victims under the meaning of federal sentencing guidelines, defense attorneys wrote this month. I'm about to end this live. But before I do, I want to show a couple more pertinent facts because I ain't even get to uh, the actual hearing files. I guess I'll probably have to do a part 3. These individuals did not testify, and we plan to summarize these individuals' accounts to the government for the court, meaning the escorts. Combs has been jailed since his arrest in September 2024, for those that kept thinking that TikTok video had any credibility. Judge Arun has not said when he will rule on the defense request for more time and pages and on their request to file any pre-sentencing arguments relating to the escorts without redaction. Um, I just think that his attorneys need to just give it up. Y'all can push for all this shit, but it's like, seriously, dude, just give it up. Okay. I think this might be the one. Here it is. Yep. Okay. As reported by The Blast, the producer was found guilty of violating the Mann Act, a federal law passed in 1910 that seeks to bar the transportation of any woman or girls across state lines to engage in prostitution or other immoral acts. Again, there is the word transportation. According to his lawyers, the court seemingly used the wrong definition of prostitution in his original criminal case instead of sticking with the original meaning when the act was passed over a century ago. The attorney stressed that in 1910, a prostitute was defined as a woman who had sex outside of marriage, and not the prosecutor's definition of prostitution as sex for hire. On this basis, Diddy's attorney pushed for a retrial or complete acquittal of their client by Judge Arun. Again, it's the audacity. So now you want to say it wasn't real prostitution. That's what y'all want to say now. The fuck out of here, man. Um, just saw your comment. Yeah, the satanic ritual calendar. I have presented it multiple times over this past year where it shows the different satanic holidays and how on satanic holidays is when satanic ritual abuse allegedly takes place the most. Um, like I said, I've shown the actual calendar multiple times. I can bring up some screenshots of it just to show you like the September satanic holidays. But yeah, it's it's disturbing. It is. Yep. Yep. Oh, it's absolutely, yeah. Solstices, equinoxes, full moons. Yes. Yes. Yep. Right. Yeah. Because a lot of people that watched the Trasha K video with Sam have, I guess, gotten in the same algorithm here. But yeah, it's definitely more than just that, for sure. Yep. Are you talking about the attorney, Miss Williams? Clarify for me. Did y'all hear that Jimmy Kimmel's show got canceled after the comments he made about Charlie Kirk? No, I didn't know that. All he said was it was MAGA probably being involved in Trump winning. Oh, wow. Of course he went into a tizzy. Because anything that will incriminate his precious MAGA people, God forbid you speak on that. But yeah, it says here, according to his lawyers, the court seemingly used the wrong definition of prostitution in his criminal case instead of sticking with the original meaning when the act was passed over a century ago. The attorney stressed that in 1910, again, a prostitute was defined as a woman who had sex outside of marriage. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I highly doubt. I highly doubt that Diddy gets an acquittal and gets out of prison. I just don't see it happening. But this attorney suing Trump, I'm just wondering how that's gonna go. Like, how are you going to be able to be successful in that? Maureen Comey sues Trump, Doge, prosecutor in Sean Diddy Combs and Jeffrey Epstein cases claims politically motivated firing. I mean, it's kind of obvious. It's not really a shocker. Prosecuting attorney for Diddy and for Epstein and Ghislaine, not a shocker at all. So yeah, she is suing the Trump administration because of all this. Wait a minute. Comey's father, James Comey, served as FBI director until 2017 when he was fired by Trump during his first term. Wow. Which makes me wonder what did that attorney know? Interesting. Now, in terms of Jaguar, let me see if I can bring up, let me delete these other screenshots. Okay. This is the Parham versus Diddy lawsuit. And as you can see, it's a PDF that I downloaded the other day. But you see Ashley Parham, John Doe, and Jane Doe with their complaint against Diddy, Christina Karam, Shane Pierce, Ruben Valdez, John Pelletier, Odell Beckham Jr., Drew DeSportis, which is Druski. Let me bring up the next. And then you see after Druski, Jacqueline Wright, Jaguar, Helena Harris Scott, Matthias Gonzalez, Brandy Cunningham, Janice Combs, Keith Lux, Big Homie CC, and John and Jane Doe. So these are all the people being named in this case that is set to go to trial October 14th. Now, again, this case involves RICO enterprise for the purpose of sexual assault, battery, rape, sexual abuse, false imprisonment, and kidnapping for the personal and financial benefit to the enterprise participants. This is why I kept telling y'all that even though he got acquitted on the RICO on the other hearing, if there is enough evidence, he could definitely still get convicted during this one. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I really hope he does. I really hope he does, because that will give hope to other survivors to feel like, okay, we can come forward and speak out and actually get justice instead of just getting ignored. And that is important. So yeah, this case that Jaguar has been named in specifically is focusing around RICO enterprise charges. And I still want to know, Jaguar, why you're trying to get dismissed from the case instead of proving your innocence. That still doesn't make sense to me, why you're not trying to prove your innocence. Unless it's because allegedly, maybe you know you're not innocent, allegedly. So yeah, we know that he's an inmate. Defendant KK is an employee of defendant Diddy, often referred to by defendant Diddy as his right-hand woman. Now I see why Jaguar was always talking shit about this KK person. I honestly, the whole time, I didn't know who she was. Defendant Diddy's predatory behavior was constant and was well known by several individuals, including defendant Diddy's employees, staff, friends, family. Now, what I'm trying to get to is, I gotta pull them up to see it. That's not it. That's part of what I was reading, but that's not what I was trying to pull up. Hold on. Okay. Oh, shit. Did it bring it up? Okay, it did. Good. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe are mother and son. Plaintiffs were taken from their Las Vegas residence by defendant Pelletier as they walked to their vehicle. Defendant Pelletier and again, trigger warning. This is graphic, information that I'm sharing, but it's also public record. Defendant Pelletier put a gun to John Doe's back and instructed him to get into a black SUV regarding extraditing plaintiffs for warrants to California. So you got an officer who's fulfilling a role and not only covering for it, but being accused of directly participating in all of this. This one says defendant Pelletier put a gun to plaintiff Doe's back and instructed him to get into the black SUV. Oh wait, I already brought that one up. It's essentially the same screenshot. Now, plaintiffs did not have any warrants nor convictions, so we have to wonder, why was this Pelletier guy trying to arrest them at gunpoint with no warrants or convictions? Plaintiffs demanded to be shown the warrants, and defendant Pelletier refused and threatened to shoot plaintiffs if they protested further. And again, what I'm reading is all public record. If you look up the case by the case number, you'll find all these details. I'm just sharing briefly what I feel is most important from the screenshots. Hold on. Now this says defendant KK told defendant Diddy that she did not think giving plaintiff a glass go smile would be advantageous to their potential clients who they could sell plaintiff for sex to. So again, we're not talking about freaky voyeurism and freak offs. We're talking about sex trafficking women, hiring male escorts, and then the racketeering charges of the transportation with the full intention of profit for sexual activity, allegedly. I'll safely say to YouTube. I do feel, yes, he's going to be held accountable. I do. But what's creepy here is defendant KK then made a threat to plaintiff that they could ship her off anywhere in the world and she would never see her family or anyone she knew ever again. Pause. Those were words that Jaguar said to me. When she started calling herself warning me, which again, at the time, it definitely didn't sound like a warning. It sounded more like a threat, where she's like, they're hunting truth tellers. They could send a bounty hunter after you to pick you up and ship you off in a container, and no one will ever hear from you again. That's why when I read that in this case docket where she is named, this particular part of the case really stood out to me. So I was like, damn, I remember when she said that to me. And then the whole safe house offer, where I wouldn't be able to have access to my phone or the outside world. And to be told, well, you'll be in a house with a bunch of murderers and criminals, but you'll be safe. They'll make sure you're safe. I offered you a safe house and you should have took it. Really? So that you could have, allegedly have tried to possibly have me shipped off in a container somewhere, trafficked somewhere out the country. I think that's why you got so angry about me not accepting the safe house, is because maybe this elaborate alleged plan to try to stop me from speaking my truth and exposing this shit failed. And I think that's why you more than likely were allegedly instructed to do that ritual, because you couldn't get me to take the bait on the quote unquote that I was told by multiple content creators was allegedly Yellow Beezy's one of his trap houses. Now, I don't know if that shit's true, but that's what I was told. So yeah, this stood out to me a lot. I was like, so if you weren't involved, Jaguar, then how is it that you said the same verbatim shit to me just months ago? So when it comes down to it, this would explain the smear campaign, all the trolls that left the channel and went to other channels and kept talking shit about me. Because maybe, just maybe, you knew I was going to connect the dots. You've been on my panel with me. You know how deep I investigate. You also know about my background, what I come from. See, true advocates are those who strive to stop the behavior, not those who participate in the continuity of it. A safe house offer after a fear-based conversation that you like were adamantly trying to convince me that Danny Robertson was gonna come to try to kidnap me. She probably knows where you're at right now. That's what you said. All people have to do is look up the background of the interior that you're showing. They can find you within a 5-mile radius. All you have to do is be taking a walk for someone to see you walking within 4 to 5 blocks of said location, then proceeds to tell me that tomorrow morning I need to go walking so I can surveillance my parameter. That's what you said during the offline conversation when we talked on IG. They're hunting truth tellers, D. Being affiliated with me can cost you your life. Then you went into how they were sending CPS to Ayesha's home and school and bomb threats to the school, and how Grace was getting arrested. Everybody connected to you was going through some horrible trauma. And D, I can't have your blood on my hands. Then you cried. Then you hung up. Then an hour later, you, all musty, and everybody called again trying to clarify the situation where I was being accused of a participation in a fundraiser I had no idea even happened until the accusation. Oh, y'all had a fundraiser on the Tanya Rubin's channel? Interesting. I wasn't invited to that. I wasn't even told about it. But somehow you tried to project blame of that onto me when you knew I had nothing to do with it because you and Maggie planned it. So all this safe house talk and all this, I was looking out for you and I was trying to help you get to a safe place where you wouldn't have to pay for a place to stay every night, and you'd be in a place where, you know, they would make sure you were fed and taken care of, or a place where indeed I could have been shipped off someday. What really took the cake is when you got extremely angry when I rejected the offer. Well, I don't know if we can have, you know, someone associated with us that's that reckless and gives away their location. And again, at no point would I ever display my location, because I am educated enough to know never to show anything where someone can try to find you, especially when you have people who have stalked you, who you've been in relationships with, and you don't want them to find you. No, I would never ever display my location, and didn't. But that was your excuse for the fear factor conversation. And you need to take down all those lives because this is what you said verbatim. Danny Robertson has now had over 12 hours to analyze that footage and find out where you're located, B. And I kept asking her and Odell, y'all keep speaking about this Danny Robertson person. Is this person like an agent? Or are they a CIA agent? Are they FBI? Are they some sort of assassin? Like, why do y'all keep talking about how evil he or she is supposed to be? Me personally, I don't give no fucks about Danny Robertson. I really don't. I don't care. But it's me recalling all these conversations. The fear factor, basically coming back with a bunch of low vibrational energy, trying to ruin the positive energy that took place during said lives. I did end up making my lives private until all that shit went down. I was like, okay, so I see what that was. That was just a way to cover her own tracks, basically, of failing at getting me to take the bait on the safety house, the so-called safe house. Then it goes into, well, since you won't take the house, now I'm just going to go off on you about you checking Murph on your own channel, which is your prerogative. Trying to dominate my channel when all I did was support yours. Amazing the difference in frequency when you're high vibrational and low vibration. But all this, you need to accept this safety house offer because, you know, I don't do this for everybody, all the gaslighting. I don't do this for everybody. You know, I don't know why you didn't just take me up on my offer. Well, because it sounded like prison. It sounded like a place where women probably have allegedly been abducted. It sounded like a place where I would probably have lost my life. Being love and light does not equate to being naive like you thought I was. I'm a lot wiser than you realize. Love and light will pray, will encourage, will uplift. But there's still a darker side. And that discernment was like, don't fall for that bullshit. And I didn't. And what was it, days later, you pulled the public humiliation ritual on your channel and on Maggie's and on Odell. Well, since we couldn't get her to stop going live with satanic ritual calendars, now we got to try to comfort her mind, her heart, her finances, her living situation. I mean, like all of it. And guess what? It didn't break me. It hurt. It didn't break me. That was the intention. If they would have succeeded in their bullying leading to my suicide, I wouldn't be on this live right now to show you guys this information. That was the agenda. And that is why she keeps coming up in my energy. That is why she regrets what she did, because you saw that it didn't work. You did all of that shit to come against me and none of it worked. Because you thought that I needed you, when it definitely was always you needing my energy and the healing that comes with it. But the safe house shit and the shipping container shit is all the same language. Jaguar, explain yourself. Because if they don't dismiss you from that case, you're going to be required to explain yourself. Houseway is the same shit you said to me months ago, also verbatim what this Pelletier man said in this case. If you're innocent, I'm going to need you to explain that. Because we all know that 1 + 1 = 2, and this ain't adding up to 2 at all. Not at all. Cody said, oh, so that's who put out of running the FBI for every unqualified tell to begin with control. If Jag goes to court, they will arrest her for her past warrants. Right, which is probably why she's trying to get it dismissed. Well, she showed up at the Diddy trial and they did arrest her. When they could have. Oh, they didn't arrest her, yeah. Right, she wasn't allowed to go in the courtroom. Probably they couldn't arrest her because of the statutes of limitations. Because keep in mind, her warrants are in Texas. It's a different state. Yep. I'm just now seeing y'all's comments from when I was talking. But didn't Jack swim across the ocean to save victims? She didn't make it in the courtroom, but Tisa Tells did. Now that's fine. One issue with her original plan with that is I wouldn't give up until I wouldn't have went. It wouldn't even been nothing for y'all to go look for. I wouldn't have went, just like I didn't go. I finally seen Danny on camera. Oh, so it is a female. Okay. Part of me thinks it was AI. I don't trust them. It probably was because I ain't never seen that person cam up ever. To think you were that dumb to be manipulated like that. Exactly. Because again, I was being loving, supportive, which is my normal self as a Scorpio. Really, all Scorpios were that way. We're very loving, we're very supportive, very ride or die until you betray. And again, for those that was like, how come you didn't see? Bitch, I saw everything. One more again, didn't want to believe the shit. I was like, I know she don't think I'm that dumb or that desperate. Where I'm gonna hand over my phone for people to just go through, exploit, track, put shit in, and I can't talk to nobody. She's like, you won't be able to order Uber Eats or groceries or talk to anyone, but you'll have a safe place and it'll be free and you won't have to worry about being harmed because you'll be surrounded by killers. And I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. At the time I was calling her sis. I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, sis. That sounds exactly like prison and it doesn't sound safe at all. I said, so I'll take my chances. God will keep me safe. God will make a way. And that's happened every step of the way. A true manipulator doesn't think about the smarts of another person. The manipulator thinks he or she is smarter than you always until they fuck around and find out that they're not. It's all about self, and Jag thinks she's outsmarting everyone, right? Wasn't Druski said to have been at that safe house? I don't know that because that I haven't heard. So that I'm not sure. No, the person at the safe house that you're talking about is Yellow Beezy. That's Yellow Beezy. She wants $25,000 a month from her fans. You know what? And that's what all y'all dumbasses get for following her ass. Motherfuckers, let's just do a side-by-side comparison. Family, when's the last time y'all saw me put a super chat or super sticker up on any part of my lives? Can y'all even remember how long ago it was when my channel first got monetized last year? Have I enabled any sort of memberships? The most I'll do is post my links to my Cash App and Venmo, and if you send a donation, great. If you don't, oh well. And yes, there's been a few times I've sent requests to people when in a real emergency situation. That's it. That's as far as I've ever gone. 25 stacks a month from your fans, girl, bye. Thank you, Andrew, for sharing that. That's some bullshit. When Druski blew up, he became friends with Odell Beckham, which makes sense why both of them are linked in this new Diddy case. Exactly. Now, you know I took screenshots. I ain't even mad. But straight up, I ain't never asked y'all for no 25,000. Hell, I felt guilty even sending the few requests that I sent. And only sent them because in an emergency situation. I'm not on YouTube asking for 25 stacks from my followers a month. So those stories that Sam, your son, told about you not being financially responsible are starting to add up. See, my situation, I'm going through this transition is because I need colorectal surgery. I was actually hospitalized for real in July and went live to debunk all the bullshit lies that Danny Robertson's stupid ass was telling, exploiting my GoFundMe that I created to raise funds to get my surgery done. Talking about I was faking, I was lying, it was period blood, just stupid shit that her and Official King Payne said on the live where they both committed fraudulent felony. Y'all do realize that it's a felony to commit identity theft by displaying anyone's personal identification information, such as location of birth, date of birth, social security information, and parental, the names, birth certificate records, all of that. Even if you did, because you had to have paid for it to do that. You did all of that because I roasted your ass. And because I turned down your $1,000 offer to come on your channel because I don't fuck with you or your low vibrational energy, nor your dumbass followers. Unfortunately, Sam aligned with Danny. But I did watch that Trash K interview with Sam, and all the shit he said about Jaguar, a lot of other people who know her have said about her being financially irresponsible. See, I'm not going through what I went through because I was financially irresponsible. I'm going through what I'm going through because I need surgery immediately. And while I do have to wait until mid-January to see the colorectal surgeon, I'm grateful that at least I have a date. It does suck to have to wait that long. And I went live to debunk not only Danny, not only Official King Payne, but mostly to debunk all these real rejects that were former subscribers of mine that chose to leave and follow Jaguar on her bullshit. And now all of y'all are trying to come back. Every single one of y'all that was in the chat talking shit on the day she did the fuck shit, every last one of y'all have come back to my channel trying to apologize and get back. Everyone. Because you saw that I really was a real one and that she was full of shit. Y'all are still seeing that. How can you turn on Jaguar? Correction, how the fuck could she turn on me? Correction on that. Because I constantly supported every time I went live. Y'all know that. I supported when I wasn't live. I supported on her platform. I supported on Maggie's platform. I supported on Odell's platform. I supported on Natanya Rubin's platform. I even supported on Sean Atwood's platform. I supported when Ronnie Ball came up missing. I supported with prayers. I supported when Adrian English came on. Lionel B, that was that guy's name. I just remembered the guy's name that I was trying to remember last night. His name was Lionel B. The one that was on panel with Sean Atwood, Courtney, Jaguar, Natanya, and Ariel Mitchell Kidd, the attorney. That was his fucking name. I even supported him. Anybody that Jaguar supported, like a lot of her followers, we all supported until we found out they were full of shit. Same with Paperwork Party TV. And that, what was his name? The Shane Brown guy that says he's Whitney Houston's cousin. So when your own son went on Trashy K's channel or studio and said that the reason you guys struggled was because you were financially irresponsible, not because my mom has a chronic medical condition and can't work. Not because my mom passes blood and needs surgery. No, because he, according to him, he said you just like to spend money and that you allegedly always dealt with men who spent money on you. And if that is the truth, that would explain why you never had a real intimate connection if all of your connections are superficial. But your son, Sam, said that you were a prostitute. He called you that. He said that you were a succubus and that you were a woman that was used to seducing men and spending money. It was actually kind of hard to watch that because of the effects of trauma that I see and feel on. And he's all you have left. Neptune, I've never watched the interview Sam did with Tasha K. I need to check it out. Is it still on YouTube? Absolutely. It's even still on the web. If you just type in Tasha K, Sam Jr., it'll pop up immediately. It's definitely still on there. Agreed. I don't like Tasha K personally, but I did enjoy watching that interview, especially after the events that happened that she did. It's like, oh, okay. See, unlike Maggie, I didn't go in a line with all of her ops, but I did start considering the shit they were saying. 1000%. And the only reason I stumbled across the Tasha K interview with Sam was when I was investigating about Giovanni and Sam. And like I showed y'all last night, this whole thing of what led up to the events of February 9th, of her saying that her son Giovanni appeared to Grace in a very dark form, aka a familiar spirit, appeared to y'all and told you that I was a snake. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey. What it's definitely giving is that you were the snake in the grass the entire time, pretending to be family, pretending to be a soul sister, pretending to be an advocate. So that maybe, just maybe, you can get in close enough to try to destroy me, to get me to stop talking about the satanic ritual calendar, which still hasn't happened. Now, again, let me pull up the full screenshot. And then I'm going to have to end this live in about 15 minutes. Yeah, there we go. Let's bring that one. If your son, Giovanni, appeared in any form of anger, it definitely wasn't directed at me. I'm of a high vibration. I don't dwell in the lower realms. And when he appeared to me that day, you were in my chat, and you later admitted that you and Grace in the spiritual realm saw Giovanni come into my room. I followed you, Jaguar, on Storm Monroe's channel since 2018. Clearly, I wasn't aware of your son until that video where you got jumped and you were throwing his ashes. That was the moment when I was like, okay, that is a ritual to summon the darker side of a dead loved one to attack people. That's a dark witch Santeria type of ritual where you throw the ashes of a dead person on somebody and curse them. I didn't do any research on your son. I acknowledge his passing. I gave you my condolences. And that video at the time broke my heart. And that gave me more empathy towards you, like a lot of people did. But how come in all the time we were aligned and talking offline, did you never mention that your son interned at Jay-Z's Rock Nation? You made it seem like you were this victim that Jay-Z and Diddy just were, on the hunt for, and they just hate me because I'm a truth teller, because I'm exposing them. But is that really the case, or is the situation actually that you were allegedly involved with the things that they did, and that's the reason they came for you. Because, like, how the fuck you gonna snitch if you were involved? And we all know what they say in the hood, snitches get stitches. But according to this, how do we know that the accusations that even your own son, Sam, said you sacrificed Giovanni and that y'all did not get along? That has to be heartbreaking for you to hear your own son say that on a platform of a female you can't stand and who was openly lusting after Sam's father, even being married. So then you proceed to say you're going to sue your own son, Sam. And then you wonder why Sam started trolling all the YouTube channels of all your ops. Come on. But again, you're a defender of freedom. You're this advocate for survivors, even though you have not produced one credible survivor since saying that shit. Now, again, Jaguar Wright reveals her son interned at Jay-Z's Rock Nation and they approached to sacrifice his mother. He refused and he was mysteriously later found dead. Completely different story from what I have heard you give the account, because you said that y'all were staying at a hotel in Vegas. You had a premonition of them coming for Giovanni. So you moved to a different hotel with him and y'all were laying low. And you said Giovanni left to go get some food or snacks. And on the way back, he was jumped and fatally injured. But according to this, it says he was just mysteriously later found dead. Then they go into, about Cat Williams talking about people being sacrificed and Kanye West. In order to reach certain heights in the entertainment industry, one must sacrifice a loved one and tote the line politically in exchange for fame and wealth. So this whole president grabbing by the pussy shit, the Mar-a-Lago shit. I'm just saying it's all pointing to sacrifice, Jaguar. And if you are not or have not been on that energy, you may need to check your energy and your actions that are lining up with, what was being spoken about concerning you as a mother on Twitter 2 years back. Because that 360 about face to coon for Trump was, in my opinion, just stupid as hell. Not to mention, like I said, ODZ calling and asking. I kept wondering, like, why is my opinion so important? He was like, well, you're the spiritualist of the group. I said, you want me to be real with you, bro? She shouldn't go. All he's going to do is use her like he's used all the other minorities to get votes. He doesn't care. Here I am looking out for you, but the whole time you were plotting and planning against me just because you're not healed. Not because I didn't support you, not because I betrayed you, but because you couldn't dominate and control me, because you couldn't get me to fall and take the bait for the bullshit safe house. Because no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't get rid of me. And what was crazy was that day that you spoke life into me when I was upset about, the relatives and their energy. And you were asking me if I was a warrior for God. And why are you on live crying about your family? Like, you spoke so much life into me. And then you turned right around and tried to damn near take my mind. Because you couldn't control me. Like you controlled everybody else in the so-called family. You talk to people crazy, you yell at people, you act like you're everybody's boss. Just like your son said. I witnessed that firsthand. Over the phone. Imagine how much worse it would have been in person if we would have actually did the meet and greets. See, again, rejection is always God's protection. If God rejects an event from happening, it is for your protection. If I would have met up with her and Odell and had actually experienced in real time the same frequency they were showing online and, virtually, I would have been so loyal to a person that didn't even deserve it. So I know there's a lot of you that are still upset about what happened. It was divine alignment for that to happen. So that now I could shift my energy to actually investigating, not just supporting a person because I want to believe that they're an advocate for the same cause that I have. No, now I want to know how involved, how much of anything that you have said is the truth. Because again, you're now the woman that cried wolf, or the woman that slept with wolf, whatever. Had me, a bunch of people feeling so much empathy and sympathy for you on behalf of the loss of your son, whereas it's looking like, according to this, that maybe it is true. Maybe you did hand him over. Maybe you did. It's not far-fetched given what you said to Nikki and her kids on the voicemail ago. And then I wondered, on the day of February 9th, when you said Grace had a dream about him and he appeared to her in a very dark, very angry form, and you wanted me to help you interpret that dream, when that wasn't even what went down. That never even happened, by the way, even after that. How is it that I saw your son in transcendent celestial form, happy, at peace, given messages to give you, and then she saw him in the familiar spirit form? Your spiritual eye sees according to the frequency you are currently in. So if one is in a low vibrational state all the time, they can't see the true celestial bodies. They can only see a familiar spirit or a demonic presence or an entity, because that is the frequency that they are comfortable on. But again, Jaguar, if Jay-Z is who you say he is, why was Giovanni ever interning at Rock Nation? And then to act as if you weren't aware of their requirement of sacrifice when you were pledged to Baphomet and you performed as a dominatrix at these parties, which means you had to have had plenty of information on how things go, which also would explain how you were able to give such detail about how there's that word again, they're Tagumba's girlfriend, threatening that they are going to get killed and raped in front of him. And then they would stage it as a veteran having a PTSD meltdown. I really am believing that they is Legion, and that different personalities personify for you based on the individual demons within that collective. That's why I said, being angry at you is wasted energy. You're already being tormented every night. Every night. Starting around 2:45 a.m. And it lasts throughout the witching hour. You can't make a pledge to a low vibrational deity and not fulfill it. They're going to come for your soul and or your loved ones. Like I said, I honestly hope this is not true. I really do. I hope that she wouldn't do something this disgusting and diabolical. However, I don't put it past her either. But Sam had a lot of interesting things to say about his mother. He said, I love Jacqueline Suzette Wright, but I can't stand Jaguar Wright. the persona. Your son said that. And he described you as horribly as I think he probably could have. Do you ever think about Sam when you make the decisions to say and do some of the stuff you say and do online or in real life? Do you consider how that affects him? Or does it just not matter because he's grown? This is not giving innocent whistleblower son gets taken out because of her whistleblowing. This is giving you wanted him to be a part of the industry. And again, why? Because you detailed your alleged sexual assault experiences to have happened earlier in your life. So why would you ever take either of your sons to be a part of any of this shit? It's not adding up. Not adding up. Neptune said all the stuff that we've been hearing that Jag has allegedly put her son through makes it believe that her second ex-husband was the better parent, even though Sam is an adult now. Yeah. Good night, Cody. Get some rest, my good brother. Good night. Wow. 4 seconds on her show, I heard 25,000 for legals. Wow. And you had the audacity to call me a scammer when you not only constantly advertise super chats and super stickers and memberships. I remember from moderating your channel, you told us to constantly post your Cash App tag during the live. I'm trying to moderate comments, trying to block people, trying to check trolls, and then you wanted us to constantly post your Cash App tag for donations. And now you need 25 stacks for legal shit? Is that for the Penske hearing or for the Diddy hearing or both? Because I remember Odell telling me when we talked offline that y'all were going to get the Penske truck situation dismissed because you had so much evidence to prove that the vehicle had allegedly gotten stolen. According to you, you said it was Sean Davey and Danny Robertson. I think you even said it's Bishop King Payne. You said all of them were involved with that. So if it's that easy for these cases to get dismissed, why do you need 25 stacks? And again, all of y'all affiliated content creators calling me a scammer. Wow. When I had an actual, and still have the GoFundMe up, have an actual GoFundMe, have evidence of me being in the hospital, being admitted to the hospital, shared with y'all, the process for the colonoscopy, the results of the colonoscopy. Like, I've been extremely transparent. That way, my real followers and real subscribers and real supporters know that if you send donations to my channel, they are to assist in my current circumstances, and they are to assist me getting myself in a position to get my health fully taken care of and to have not only stability but the wealth that I deserve. Not, oh, I need $25,000 for legal fees. People only accumulate legal fees when they are either trying to prove innocence or trying to settle out of court. So I just have a feeling that that dismissal is not going to be granted. Because I think the judges are just as curious as the rest of us as to how can you prove your innocence. I think about all this shit. Her, um, Bliss Forever, Amber, Bonnie Ellis, Maggie, all these people that worked together to try to put that shit on me when I didn't even know. Again, rejection is always God's protection. Because if I had have been a part of that lie, then I would have been included in that investigation that they started specifically about you, Jaguar, at the very beginning of February. So even though initially my feelings was hurt, I was like, because I even said it during my live, I was like, they did a fundraiser for Bliss Forever on Natanya's channel. Why the fuck wasn't I told about it? I thought we were all supporting helping her to get donations because she claimed she was a victim of the California fires. Come to find out that was some bullshit. No, you just was a scammer. Changing your entire YouTube name, your entire YouTube at your handle, your photo, within, what was it, 2 days after getting donations? And then 2 days after that fundraiser that I didn't know about? Maybe doing the fundraiser on Natanya Rubin's channel was a way to try to get, more love and light type of people to donate and to absolve you from being the actual, full on host of the fundraiser because you weren't on your channel, you were on hers. Just like when you did the Adria English fundraiser on her channel. Again, you move strategically, and then the demons, that have a hold of you, unfortunately caused you to move sloppy. But I put all that together. I said, okay, don't know who Ada is, never knew who Ada was. Heard about this fundraiser. Y'all blame Lady Letitia for the fundraiser. Then you blamed Bonnie Ellis. Then, I mean, it's like everybody just drug in a bunch of people that had nothing to do with this shit. And all this shit is going on when these RICO charges are being discussed. Again, see, whoever it was earlier that mentioned about they thought Allie Carter and Jaguar were paid opposition, that might have been somebody that left a comment. I agree with you. I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens on YouTube are actual distractions. Whatever you focus on, you give your power to. If you're focused on everything that this person has going on or everything that person has going on, then you're not focused on getting justice for victims. If you're caught up in which content creator Jaguar's dragging for filth this week, you're not focused on getting justice for victims. And honestly, that's what this was supposed to have been about this whole time, not just Diddy and Jay-Z and all these stories, but what about the survivors? What about those who are still not even ready to come forward because of the trauma that they're still dealing with? Those are things I think about. Straight up. Miss Williams said, well, if she sacrificed her son, what went wrong? Because Jack isn't too famous. I think what went wrong, honestly, is that when they realized that they couldn't use her, that she wasn't as powerful of a weapon as they thought, I think that's probably what went wrong. Natanya Brooklyn claims she's an energy reader. Do you believe that? Yes and no, and I'm gonna tell you why. I know she reads energy. I don't know which side she plays for. Because in my own personal experience, people who are always projecting themselves to be holier than thou are usually the ones who are the most full of shit behind closed doors. And they don't even actually practice what they preach in real life. Doesn't mean that she can't read people. I just don't know that she's all for the light of the Most High God. That's where I'm just more in question about Natanya, because part of her seems genuine, another part of her seems shady. I'm gonna be honest. But when we were all aligned, I saw her as a soul sister. She always felt high vibrational. But then again, Lucifer also was a fallen angel that transformed to an angel of light. So I'm just saying. Based off of what I had gathered in all of these different social media abundance streets, was allegedly she had participated in some people hitting licks, allegedly. And that was allegedly the true story, is that she had got mixed up with the wrong people. And then was allegedly accidentally shot due to some sort of fight or altercation. So you got to think back on that. If that is all true, then that means definitely was a side to her that was dark. And people do change and evolve and grow. I have. Now, what I am saying is her ability to read energy, I do think is real. I just want to know, is she a part of the pyramid? That's what I want to know. How involved were all of you who have snitched on Diddy? It will actually make me very happy to get some sort of evidence concerning. It's just crazy to me. Damn. Even that with Natanya. Even that. The common denominator in all their stories is Diddy. Natanya Rubin's account of him, Jaguar's account of him, Jonathan Hayes' account of him. Even the Breakfast Clubs. Everybody's involvement. Let me snitch on Diddy before he could snitch on me. I ain't gonna lie, Jaguar, I feel like that was your agenda this whole time. Meanwhile, all these people came and found me. I kept saying, I was like, man, I am not a celebrity. Why do all these people keep coming to my channel? First thing that was pointed out to me is the satanic ritual calendar. They said that's more than likely why. Because most people haven't seen no shit like that. And they're too afraid to research it. I'm not. Neptune said that's because they never had any intention of getting justice for the victim, because if they were, they wouldn't be talking about you to be. Thank you. People who are focused on getting justice are just that. They're focused on getting justice. They're not focused on beefing and creating drama on YouTube. And me investigating Jaguar is directly related to my experience with her, with the safety houses and the shipping container comments, and, you know, literally trying to break my soul, making fun of my miscarriages, making fun of the bleeding spells that I go through, talking shit about my mom. It's like, God damn, I could see if I did that shit to you. Like, ain't this the same motherfucker who's no content YouTube channel? I got the first 100 subscribers to the Jaguar Wright show. They came from Just These Show. If you ain't know, sometimes when I, started my lives, you weren't available or you were asleep. The first 100 subscribers to the Jaguar Wright Show YouTube channel came from my channel, from me promoting it when you had no content up there. So I think what you thought is we got somebody who's naive, clout chaser. When you said on that live, well, anybody mentioning my son, I have to evaluate. She didn't even realize she was being evaluated. Motherfucker, you didn't realize you were being evaluated. Not just by me, by the whole entire spiritual realm. Your constant thoughts of paranoia created false realities that did not exist, but in your mind, they did. There is a mental illness for that type of behavior. While trolls are real on YouTube, there's also a lot of people that are supportive on YouTube. And everybody ain't your friend. I definitely found that out this past year. But everybody also ain't out to get you either. The thought process that everybody's always out to get me is paranoia, or what they would call bipolar schizophrenia. The grandiose, everybody has to bow down to me energy, while also manipulating people. 25,000 for legal stuff. Doesn't sound like you're innocent if that's the amount of money that you need. I want all of y'all held accountable. Every last one of y'all. Not just Diddy and Jay-Z and Clyde. All of y'all. Everybody. Especially you. For every single survivor whose voices you have now closed with your bullshit. Did she read Diddy energy when shot? I don't know. That is pretty shady. I don't know. Are you talking about Natanya? She seems 100% shady. He said, let me not laugh at that though. Seriously, like she could have died. True. I mean, I get the shade with Andrew. But no, I do get that. I'm not laughing at her being shot. I want to be very clear. I would never laugh at that. However, I don't understand why Natanya would even have ever been aligned with Jaguar if she knew about the darker sides of her. Now, when we would be on those lives together where we were all praying together, that was very powerful. That was very real. This is not about me, but I have to be honest, I was always the one leading the prayers. Especially when shit kept going left and all the drama kept happening. I was like, man, let's just pray. Hell, y'all saw it. We prayed together on my lives plenty of times. And when Natanya did her celebrating 25-year anniversary, surviving, what she said she went through with Diddy, I showed up to that live and supported her. I was always showing up. Now it's time for me to show up for myself and for other survivors of sexual abuse. It's time for us to all receive our justice. And everybody involved, please hear me clear. God's not going to let you escape. You can go to Timbuktu, you can go to Greece, you can go wherever the fuck you want to go. You can go in a cave if you want. You can go underground. You will be made to be held accountable. And there is no escape at all. I feel like this. Some people know how to read people, but at her age, she should very well know how to read the vibe of any room she goes in. I'm shot. Jag is still alive. Wow. 90% of what Jag said was talked about years ago, and none of it was her story to tell. That's what a lot of people have been saying. And I know that to be true based off of the way she obsessively was still watching my channel and still is, and regurgitating all of the shit, all the research I did about Angie Stone. Verbatim, same exact shit I said in multiple lives. She repeated it on other platforms to try to make it seem like it was her discovery. That's what a person does when they lack originality, when they, lack authenticity. Let me go copy off of other people's work. It's really insane, quite honestly. At the end of the day, Jaguar, I'm going to be honest, this is one case I don't think you're going to be able to finesse your way out of. I think you're going to have to go to court. I'll be really surprised if you end up not having to go. Hold on, I was trying to find that one. Okay, hold on. Let me see what this one is. That wasn't it. Hold on. This is what I wanted to show. Defendant Jaguar discussed with Defendant Helena how the parties started the first Black-owned network, Revolt. Revolt TV. So these are the things they're saying about you, Jaguar. They're saying that you aided in the trafficking of women to Diddy's house. They're saying that you also aided in the sexual abuse. And then you guys, I don't even understand why you guys would be discussing any of this in front of people that were being abducted, but okay, if this is true. So I want to know, how exactly did the parties, the freak-offs, start the first Black-owned network? And that's if indeed you actually did say this, because again, all this is alleged until proven. Now, on this one, it says defendant Jaguar and defendant Helena discuss the other co-conspirators, but reference them by their middle names. Natasha, defendant KK, Pedro, defendant Gonzalez, Lyra, defendant Valdez, Cornelius, defendant Odell, and Larry, shortened for Lawrence, defendant Pelletier. So, like I said, you got some explaining to do, ma'am. It's a lot of information in that, a whole lot. Said Jag talked about people's marriages and who slept with who, but I don't hear her talking about the woman who's on YouTube saying Jag. Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that that was going on. Now there's some random bitch saying you got a bum bum. Y'all remember that shit from the Kevin Hart stand up? He was like, niggas had a herpes? No, it's a bum bum. Stupid motherfucker. Oh, and unfortunately, another one who is going to be questioned to Mr. Hart, who was at the Dirty Money party. Like I said, man, this case, this hearing on October 14th, we're going to see how it play out. Because like I said, this case is surrounding completely RICO charges. So it's not like this other federal one where you can possibly get off on just prostitution. No, the specific charges are RICO. That says a whole lot. That says a whole lot. And everybody ain't lying on you. In Jaguar, everybody ain't lying on you. It is time. The last shall be first, the first shall be last. It's time. Wolves in sheep clothing are being revealed. It's time. The God is separating the wheat from the chaff. It's time. We are in spiritual warfare, and we have been for quite some time. Better choose the right side. Still don't understand how you asked me months ago if I was a warrior for God and then turn around and did the bullshit you did, other than the fact that you are just being controlled by demons and legion. As a high vibrational high priestess Jaguar, I do hope you choose God. I do hope you heal. I really do. For the sake of your son, Sam. Because he deserves a mother who's not going to embarrass him. And although I hope you heal, I know you're going to pay for the things you said and did. Not just to me, to many. And if you really, again, if you really did participate with Diddy and them on all of this shit, God's going to reveal it. No matter how much y'all try to hide or cover up, God's going to reveal it. I remember when she said she wanted to go out, like, pretty much people unset it off. That was extremely tough. And that was just what, a couple, what was it? That was a few months back. Yeah, because that's when I was still aligned with Stone. And he told me that. He's like, she said she wants to go out when she was trolling him. Or rather, they were trolling each other. He's like, she said she wants to go out like Queen Latifah and set it off. I was like, well, she keep fucking with the wrong people. She's going to attract that. I don't even understand that. How are you speaking death over yourself? Some things I'm extremely glad I don't understand. What I overstand is that it does make me feel like Jaguar Wright was attempting to sex traffic. Of course, I had to put they said because it's a lot of people saying that, but I do feel that that was the intention behind the safe house offer. And it didn't work. I think right now, the best thing to do is to just come forward. Come forward. Prove your innocence in a court of law. If you even have any innocence to prove. As far as Natanya Rubin, I hope she heals. And I do hope that if Diddy and J-Lo and them really were responsible for shooting her in the face, I hope she gets justice. But I also still am wondering, how far were all of these people's involvement? And that might end up being something we never receive the answer to, or it may just get revealed with irrefutable proof that you can't say is photoshopped or AI or anything like that. Not gonna hold y'all. All of this type of shit is exactly why I don't want to join the music industry. I love to sing. Sing is my first love. Music is my first love. But the way these people, just like on that screenshot where it said that his son interned and then he was approached to sacrifice her. It's just time, man. It's time for justice. It's time for the meek shall inherit the earth. It's time for those of us who have endured alive to receive all of our blessings. And blessings, again, isn't just monetary, it's justice, it's favor, it's healing. All of that falls into abundance. So I'm going to keep you guys updated on all of the upcoming hearings, the one on the 25th from Diddy's attorneys, his sentencing on October 3rd, and then this case going to trial on October 14th. And again, for those who would like, I'll be doing free mini readings this weekend. I have availability for sure later today. As well as I'll have additional time over this weekend. So for those who would like, you can follow me on Instagram, DM me. Make sure that you hit follow before you DM me so I actually get your DM. And if you're on TikTok, you can message me on there as well. But right now, y'all, I feel like we need to be focused on winning the spiritual war, not living in a constant state of fear and lack. Abundance is a mindset, it's a frequency. Tap in. Tap in capital letters. Always be true to yourself. Remember who you are. Do not seek validation from random people on this app. It is not that serious. And for those who haven't, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, do not forget to follow me on Rumble, so that way you guys can get notified for the next uncensored content live. With that being said, I gotta go, man. It's 3 a.m. and I gotta get up in a few hours. I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I want to thank everybody who participated in the chat. Thank you to those who have been supporting the channel. And again, shout out to the new DzPeepz. Shout out to the new subscribers on YouTube as well as on Rumble. Thank you to those who are following. I want you guys to keep your eyes and ears open. And a lot of these environments like churches, schools, those that are in politics, all of this stuff, a lot of this energy, you guys, has been set up to be a huge distraction for world dominance and deception. There's this video that went viral on YouTube about 2 weeks ago about this guy having a discussion with ChatGPT about the mark of the beast and, all of the things that are to come. And the one thing I remember from that video is them saying that religion could be the greatest tool of deception, and the smartphones, getting, human beings dependent solely on these smartphones. They are interactive and they're fun to be on and watch videos and play games, but they are some of the worst tracking devices that we've ever allowed. So luckily, those of us from my generation are going to know how to survive without this. It's the future generations that are doomed if we don't prepare. So, family, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for all of your comments, your participation. Again, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Rumble, hit the like video. Don't forget to sign and share my petition to stop YouTube global cyberbullying and gang stalking. And for those that would like to support the channel, feel free to send your channel donation to my CASHAPP or VENMO, as again, I do not enable super chat, super stickers, and memberships. Donut must be watching. What's up, No Nuts? Not surprised, because that name came out of my mouth when I was not thinking about him whatsoever. So what's up, No Nuts? Anyways, y'all stay tuned. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. And I will be back soon. Y'all have a beautiful day.